History practically seeps from every inch of this place, from the blades of grass in there, from the paths that lead us in, from the echoes of so many of those who started it all. And of course, from the almost ancient legendary rivalries like the one forged by the hurlers of Tipperary and Cork down through the years. And so isn't it remarkable then that we find ourselves here on All-Ireland Final Day 2025 with one more first still to come.
And so the great moment has come.
That first time you lift a hurley too big for your hands. That first time in the crowd to watch your hero.
Jimmy Burney went with the scorer of the goal.
That first catch caught clean that you'll never forget.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
That first pure strike on the run.
Yes, a goal.
And that first wound as a warrior. That first battle in the park.
Great traditional rivals Tipperary and Cork.
Or that first win in Semple.
What a victory!
That first broken heart. Sometimes life isn't fair.
Be another day.
And that first walk up the steps.
The famine is over.
To make it all worthwhile.
We've done it!
There's a first time for everything.
Welcome to join us here in Croke.
And maybe a last. And in this moment,
Never before in GAA history.
as the tension builds,
Historic day.
in this first,
The very first time.
time will stand still.
Not on the tracks though, additional trains all round, and as you would expect, they are all absolutely jam-packed. Now, whether or not everyone has a match ticket to go with their train ticket, that is less certain. This is one of those years where too many of those who follow the county in the depths of winter as well as hazy summer days, they're likely to be watching from afar. But we will do our very best to bring you along with those of us who are lucky enough to be here. And also to give you an insight into what's happening with those who matter most. Cork travelled this same road 12 months ago. It took more than 90 minutes before their dreams were finally shattered. But it is hard to deny that Pat Ryan's men are in a very different place in 2025. One major Gaelic round blip aside, they have been the team to beat ever since January. Embrace the hype, the message from their manager. So then, all pressure off Tipperary. They're the men who have some men with multiple Celtic crosses, and also with teenagers and 20-year-olds who've at least won All-Ireland in their pockets as well. They've had to battle to get here, and they have shown repeatedly that they are up for the fight. And so it all comes down to this: Cork versus Tipperary in the 2025 All-Ireland hurling final, throwing in at 3:30. And if history is going to be the theme of the weekend, as Liam, Anthony and Donal Óg arrived in a little bit earlier on today, Donal Óg, I got the impression that maybe that history was weighing a little bit on you.
It's a special day, Joanne. I think for everybody, it's there's a lot on the line, for Cork, a lot on the line for Tipperary. All-Ireland final is a special day. It's and the theme of that around that brilliant couple of minutes that we watched there, time bins today. It's, a hurling nation holds its breath today, if you like, watching the game, and a game longer than any of our memories, even though I am here beside Michael Cusick, and every time I do see that statue, I have to say, I see that statue coming to life and coming down off of the plinth and using that stick on some of the bluffers that are meant to be promoting hurling that we have up here. But let's park that for the day. It's a special day. It's brilliant to see Cork and Tipperary's beautiful colour, all the people, all the families here, all the people looking for pictures off of the boys there and so on, and everybody excited. I think it's such a storied fixture. We were all brought up on stories of Cork and Tip, with all due respect to Anthony. I can remember, I met John Doyle on Friday, and I was telling him that when we were kids, his father was John Doyle, one of Hell's Kitchen. And I told him that we'd heard so many stories about that and the fear of them with lowering the blades and so on, that we'd prefer to hear the boogeyman was at the door rather than Hell's Kitchen of Doyle, Kerr and Mary.
Do you know what? I think you took out that stick and used it plenty already. But you know what was funny, Liam? he walked in here and he could have done with a walking stick because he was this bundle of nerves. Whereas you bounded in with this big grin on your face. It sums a lot up about the day and the dynamic between the two counties.
Yeah, it does. We're in a good place, Joanne. You know, I suppose at the start of the year, very few would have expected Tipperary to be at this juncture. So they've arrived here. They were really good here the last day. They do have a liking for Croke Park. I think critically, the last 2 times they were in here, they've managed to take home the big prize. I think that's a big plus on All-Ireland final day. So they have Celtic crosses, and Donalogue is talking about statues coming down and going out and playing it on the field. I'd like to think the Tipperary are going to come alive out here in that field today. I just think they're really set up for a big performance, and they'll need one, Joanne. And I suppose I got a lot of slag in the last day, Joanne, from my pink jacket. So my commentary during the week was that the pink jacket had to stay out in the semi-final, and I'm hoping that Cork had their day out in the semi-final as well.
The old powers, they're back, Anthony.
They are. It's amazing. The back door came in, I think, 28 years ago, Joanne, and the first time they're getting it together. Some big boxing promoter mustn't be able to put them together. The money was too big between the two of them, but they finally got it on, and we're so looking forward. As Donald said, what a magic occasion. Such an Irish day. Everything Irish about it, I think. I just met Liam Gordon, the referee's brother and sister there, and what a big day for him as well. And we hope it goes great for him as well. We hope I don't mention his name. But no, it's fantastic. 2 different routes. A lot of people predicting that Cork would do the triple from early in the year, and they're 1 step away. But did we think Tip would be here to meet them? We didn't, and they are. And they have 2 massive scalps under the belt in Galway and Kilkenny. So a lot of tension. You can feel it building. I'm tending to agree with you. I thought your man walked in a bit tense, and the other lad was a bit, grand, all good.
You know long enough now, don't judge a book by its cover.
We know that both of you had these great rivalries with Kilkenny down there, but is Cork the big one?
Well, I think, you know, I was in '87 on the bank in '87 and that great day, you know, when Tip managed to win that Munster final and Richie Stakely. You know, again, you've seen it in the teaser there on the introduction. Like, there's just a special connection, and I mean, there's always great banter between Tip and Cork, and I think that was part of the build-up as well. And you know, I think both teams come here, and if they were told, if Pat Ryan and Liam Cahill were told at the start of the year that they'd arrive in underneath the tunnel today and they'd be taking on each other in the All-Ireland final, I think they'd have taken a hand off you. The question is now, Joanne, in the cauldron that is the All-Ireland final day, in that Coliseum out here, who's going to bring it and who's going to play to the level that I think both of them have shown over the course of the championship.
But I do want to get back to that rivalry, because there have been many different incidents, let alone what actually happens on the pitch down through the years. We know Babs brought up one during the week. As tends to happen, I may have put my foot in it a few years ago when Owen Kelly was working for Ayr and you were working with us, and I mentioned to him about this litter that you kindly handed to him for that, was it the Munster final, for him to take a penalty. I didn't know the two of you had never spoken about that.
I can't remember that one, Joanne.
I can't, Joanne. I can't.
No,
Joanne.
a wet ball.
It was in the bat all night.
What I would say is there's always great rivalry, but there's always great respect between Cork and Tipperary. I think even I heard Pat Ryan during the week talking about that Cork like going to Thurles. You always feel hurling when you go to Thurles. You always feel hurling when you talk to Tipperary people. I can remember the 1984 All-Ireland final, even though Tipperary weren't in it, it was being played in Thurles. I remember the night before when there was a ticket, Paddy O'Sullivan brought a ticket to my father. That time you only needed 1 ticket for 2 to get in, and the excitement. I mentioned to Paddy, I hope he's here today. He had a bad fall off scaffolding there lately. I remember bringing that ticket and then going into Thurles the next day and walking up over the bridge and going up on your dad's shoulders and seeing all the thousands of people there and the colour, and all of those stories have been repeated everywhere. There's more kids this week when they heard that their parents had a ticket from, they're going to have a day today that they'll never forget. And that's the beauty of what we have in the GA, that it's part and parcel of who we are. It runs so deep, and long may that continue, Joanne.
They're getting cosy, Anthony.
They're getting cosy now, and look, we'll have to listen to it for the day, but as TJ Ryan said during the week, one of them will lose. So we don't get to read that. But look, John, I have no problem. I think, you know, Cork and Tip, I was kind of raised in it as well, because our lads weren't winning much, and I'll never forget being in the one of the terraces when Aidan Ryan got that goal in '91 in the replay, when the pitch invasion took place and all. And look, I was rushing home to Clarecastle to get out me hurley and go banging a ball and dreaming someday that Clare could be there, and by God, we were there.
Still All-Ireland champions as we speak.
Another few hours, John.
We're going to make our way inside. In the meantime, Damien has found somewhere nice and cosy, I think, in order to join the Goalkeepers Union.
Well, the Tipperary-Cork rivalry has been golden for many generations, and these two men, Gerard Cunningham and Ken Hogan, played a serious roles. Iconic goalkeepers from that time as well, Tipperary and Cork. And Gerard, I'll start with you first of all. The rivalry hadn't been seen for quite a few years. It's certainly back on Broadway now.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Like, we've missed Tipperary, like they haven't been around for a couple of years, and I heard someone slagging there recently that Hockey's son has seen Croke Park more time than Tipperary in the last couple of years. But look, it's brilliant for there's incredible rivalry, incredible respect, and look, we're delighted to be back here. You know, we were here last year, here in 2021. First Tip Cork Munster All-Ireland final. You know, it hasn't happened. You know, it's never happened before. And the system now allows it to happen, so it's brilliant, you know what I mean? So it's been you can see it, sense of the atmosphere, colour, you know, it's like being in the square in Thurles, like, you know what I mean? The crowd is so big.
And Ken, I say, without putting words in your mouth, your golden memories have to be Tip Cork, surely right up there, despite your All-Irelands and All-Stars.
Yeah, big days. I spoke about enough for the match last night, you know, 87 in Thurles, you know, the hair stand in the back of your head, over 60,000 people, you know, crammed into a simple stadium. But this is taking on a new event now in Croke Park, All-Ireland final day, Tip and Cork. You know, hard to believe that the red and white are coming up 20 years searching for an All-Ireland final. We had success in 19 and 16 and 10. We're absolutely delighted to be here. Massive year for Tipperary. You know, written off at the very start. Liam Cahill has done a magnificent job bringing us back here. It's going to be one hell of a game. We expect that the allocation of tickets is very fair this time, and that Tipperary will have their fair share. So really looking forward to the game, and I suppose above all that it's a real spectacle.
Ger, Slittergate, Dunkeys Don't Win Derbies, massive tickets going to the Sea of Red. The rivalry 2025, and how important is it for the likes of Pat Horgan to get over the line, even though his legacy is already assured, in my opinion?
Yeah, sure, look, I think everybody in the game, not so much even just in Cork alone, would love to see Hoggy get his medal, but you throw in Seamus Harnedy, you throw in Conor Lehan, you throw in Damien Cahalane, guys who've given massive service, you know, so it would be brilliant for them to win the medal, but I think all they want to do is just get this team over the line. Heartbreak last year against Clare, like, you know, unbelievable. Took them a time to get over it, but they've bounced back unbelievable. League champions, Munster champions. To crown it all today would be fantastic. And the bonus, the extra bit is yeah, Hoggy is probably the story in the point of view to the service he's given. But look, it's all about the team, and he'll say that as well. So fingers crossed that he gets it today.
Ger, or Ken, over to you then. In terms of Liam Cahill, last winter was probably at a managerial low ebb. If they pull it off today, is it one of the greatest achievements in inter-county management in recent times?
It's a huge achievement already to be here, and after winning, you know, Liam Cahill is a man of history already, winning a minor 2021. This is the last one to do. It's a huge ask. We're looking forward to the game. Despite what Cork are thinking, the ball still has to be thrown in. We're really looking forward to a savage game. I think above all, I suppose, you know, I think around the world here, everybody watching this game, my own son Brian and Cueva in Brisbane, but the biggest thing of all is the Tipperary Cork rivalry, the red and white and the blue and gold. Where would you wish to be for just to be here in Croke Park on All-Ireland final day?
Ken, Gerard, thank you so much for your views. We've heard the views of two icons, two experts in their fields as well. Let's hear now what the supporters have to say as well.
Did you believe at the start of the year you'd be in the All-Ireland final?
Absolutely not. Even the lads at home in Imlay, in my hometown, I told them in the pub last night, I said, there isn't a hope I ever thought we'd be here today. Can't believe it. Still can't believe it.
We always believe. We're Tipperary, sure. It has to be. Today is the day. No other way.
Oisin O'Donoghue, who's going to score the winning goal.
And in fairness, we deserve it for everything we've done this year. Can't pass us by this year.
And at the start of the year, could you believe that you'd be in the All-Ireland final?
No, not at all, I have to say, but delighted that we're here today, and hopefully everything will go all right today.
Honourables! On Tip!
The supporters had a little bit calmer than all those shots we saw fired from the two goalkeepers a little while ago. Now, Tipperary's last two Liams were won by a Liam. The man next to us here has those two senior titles. With his namesake, the current manager has won All-Irelands at minor, under-20, under-21 levels with his own county. And with Waterford, he also won a National League and reached an All-Ireland final. And in truth, as we heard there were probably very few at the start of the year predicting Liam Cahill would have Tip still in the hunt for hurling's biggest prize on the 20th of July.
It's all over in Semple Stadium. Tipperary have been beaten. Cork continue on.
Tipperary's campaign comes to an end.
You know, you'd hear the old cliches of soul searching and what have you.
Tipperary will have to reflect, obviously, after that.
You know, there's been a lot of revisiting, you know, little areas that didn't really come to the levels required over the 2024 season in particular. There's nobody hurting more than our players with performances that weren't up to par. It was a case of really getting back into the trenches.
The 92nd championship meeting of Cork and Tipperary. There's some incidents off the ball already. Red card. Darren McCarthy straight red. Oh my word.
You know, young Derek came under a lot of criticism. Myself as manager came under criticism for the way we started the game that led to the incident.
Look, all credit to Tipperary here. They really came fighting, and look, that's a great starting point for what's to come in the future.
Leaving Páirc Uí Chaoimh that day, even though the scoreboard was in double-digit figures, I felt the way we applied ourselves with 14 men for a full 70-plus minutes was really, really a real turning point for us. We went to Ennis up to take on the All-Ireland champions in their backyard 2 weeks later, which was a huge task coming off of what had happened.
John McGrath! Another goal for Tipperary!
We ground out a brilliant result up there. So then it really started to come alive for us. Huge Tipperary crowd then behind us for the opportunity to be one of the three to come out of Munster again Waterford.
Inside here, should be finished, and it is finished. It's an emphatic 9 points win by Tipperary.
Suddenly the momentum starts to build, and suddenly what you're thinking coming out of Páirc Uí Chaoimh, there's something in it, and you're saying to yourself, these boys are finding their way. There's nothing like a battle-hardened team with 15-20 minutes to go, down to 14 men, right bang in the trenches again.
Oisin O'Donoghue swings the stick. Oh, what a goal! Tipperary are back in the All-Ireland final for the first time since 2019.
It would mean the world to me and my family and my club, Ballingarry, where I come from. You know, you start out on a journey at underage, never really expecting to be in one of the biggest jobs in amateur sport in Ireland, to be honest. Tipperary hurling to me has just been so much of my life from the day I was born. So please God, we'll have Liam McCarthy back in Tipperary and our own little bit of history created with a new panel of players.
That was lovely, wasn't it? And I know Liam already mentioned quite a few of them, but this is a reminder of how Tip got to this point. The draw with Limerick, it did feel significant at the time. Liam, when they beat Waterford in round 4 in Munster to secure their passage through the championship, it was their first time to get back-to-back championship wins since you did it in 2019. That has to have been major in this road.
Yeah, and I think Lee mentioned it, Joanne, that match in Ennis in the 63rd minute when Clare came level after tipping well ahead for long periods in that first half. I think that was a real show of the character that exists and the character that he's built over a short space of time. I mean, if we go back to the 1st of January, you know, there was a lot of soul searching done. He really went at it. He went to Liam Cahill way this time. He decided who he wanted, and they've got extremely fit under Angelo Walsh. They've done really well, and now they find themselves in here, as he said, they're battle hardened, they have momentum, they've won the last 5 games in a row, so I don't think he could be any happier or there's anything else he could have achieved. He got out of Munster, he's really delivered and got better as every game goes on, and he's a potential to get better again today.
Is the pressure off him?
I don't know if that's the case. That's a soft enough narrative, I think, Joanne, because it's very hard to get to this day, and everyone knows when you get here you have to try and take that chance. I think our lads were desperately conscious of that last year. When the chance presents itself, you have to try and take it, and I think Liam and the players will be realistic enough to know that Munster, no more than patting the lads, Munster can be a minefield next year. A couple of results go against you and your back is to the wall, and I think you're here, you have to try and deliver.
Now, when you were put to the task of coming up with a piece to do on Tipperary, you were very keen to talk about Tip blood.
Definitely, Joanne. I think one of Liam Cahill's best things is that he's mixed young and old. We've looked at a couple of examples here. In defence, Robert Doyle, Ronan Maher. Robert Doyle saved the jail. A lot of hassle with this save, but he's been outstanding this year in terms of the man marking jobs he's the man marker for Tony Kelly. He's been the man marker for Desi Hutchinson. Looks like today he'll be on Alan Connolly again, another tough job, but he's had an outstanding start to the season. This man, Ronan Maher, what a man to have playing in the defence. You really see him here catching the ball. That's his strength all the time over the years. Powerful in the middle of the years, in the middle of the field, in the air. an unbelievable sideline. Then you look at attack. We look at Darren McCarthy. Heard a lot about him over the last number of years. Donald O'Donnell, the coach in Nina, was telling me when he was coming up in the Harty that he was a serious player. Owen Murphy probably won't be overly happy with this. You have to think that from a Liam Cahill point of view, was he tempted maybe to say he's not in control of the emotion enough? Because if you're looking at the comparing experience versus lack of experience and actual evidence, there was a lot made of what Noel McGrath did with the flick for the last goal that Tipperary got in the semi-final. But from my point of view, if you want to see what experience does and smart and intelligent players who recognise the patterns they form, Mikey Carey was doing exactly what you do in a situation like that, in that you'd be backing back, looking for that foul, but he was so smart. And to have him as a luxury and bring everything he can bring to the field is a huge boost for Tipperary. So I think Liam Cahill has done outstanding in terms of being able to balance that. When Noel McGrath comes into my head, there's one thing I want to say. 10 years ago, that man was diagnosed with testicular cancer. 10 years ago. And everybody within the hurling world would have been given a shock by it. 10 years later, he's back here and is one of the main people with two brothers playing. What an inspiration him and his family are to hurlers all over the country.
And he's won another All-Ireland in the meantime since then. He came back so soon after that diagnosis as well, Liam. And we saw him here after the All-Ireland semi-final. When he came and he stood with us in the studio, he was infectious, wasn't he? The way his enthusiasm was infectious. You could just imagine what he must be like in a changing room.
Yeah, and he's a real team player. I mean, you could pick it up when Jackie asked him what role. He's happy to play whatever role he's asked to do. But I can guarantee you, from now until Windows 15 take the pitch, Noel McGrath will have a massive influence in that group. And again, I was in Lockmore last night. The whole parish, the whole community, the whole culture, his mother and father, Pat and Mary, it's just a really, really special parish, and they have a really, really special family in the McGraths.
Now, speaking of special, you might hear behind us a bit of noise. That's because the Jubilee team is making its way out onto the pitch. What a team. This is the start of a legacy, Anthony Daly, the 2000 Kilkenny All-Ireland winning team.
They have to get a good few suits anyway, trying to want it, because there's a lot coming ahead. But yeah, that day they made Offaly, and I suppose 98 was very fresh in their heads as well, the way Offaly had come and won it kind of against the head in lots of ways, and they wanted to put the record straight. And I remember sitting here that day saying, this crowd they're on a mission today. And they certainly were, and it was the start of the Cody winning machine, and no, they're good.
Yeah, sorry, you see Eddie Brennan causing trouble as usual. Paying absolutely no attention. He actually came on at the end and scored one of the goals. Funny enough, Liam Sheedy, it was Henry obviously on fire in this All-Ireland final as well. It's Offaly's last All-Ireland final.
Yeah, you know, to think of where the two counties have gone in that period. But, you know, it's gas. Now that we look back in, 2015 to now, Kilkenny look to be drifting in a different direction. So, you know, they're really struggling to get my own back on Jackie after all the semi-final dig. But, and Offaly are coming. So that's the thing. And I think, we need teams. I think this Kilkenny team were probably one of the best ever to grace the grounds in Croke Park. So they were superb. And I think it's lovely that they get their day in the sun here. It's just a pity it's done a little bit too early, Joanne. I'd love everybody to be in, because, some of the greatest players that ever played the game are out there in that Kilkenny team.
Yeah, what a team, Joanne. I think we all suffered over them in the coming years. We're looking at the forward line and on the clips there. When you think of the likes of Shefflin, Brennan, like you mentioned there, think of Carey, what players, like some of the players that inspired generations to play the game after them, and they'll never be forgotten, any of those players, any of those great players like those forwards I just mentioned there, for what they achieved on the field.
The backs weren't too bad either. Now we'll move on to Cork for just a moment, because like Liam Cahill, Pat Ryan had All-Ireland success at under-20 level, and as senior inter-county manager he seems to have already experienced it all, except not quite yet. He's had the devastation of missing out on progression from Munster in year one, of a 1-point extra time All-Ireland final defeat in year two. Year three has already given him a famine-ending league title and a euphoric Munster title, won for the very first time in history on a penalty shootout. And yet, as Donal O can probably confirm, it's likely that he and Cork will only reach true nirvana if Liam McCarthy accompanies them home tomorrow.
Cork are back in the All-Ireland hurling final for the second year in a row.
So Pat, 12 months ago, we were in the same room How's the season so far been?
Look, very enjoyable, really. I suppose, you know, a lot of hard work, you know, especially after we beat the All-Ireland final last year. Fellas really knuckled down, you know, we probably assessed what things we'd done right and what things we'd done wrong and couldn't get us over the line on that day against Clare. So, look, we went after those things, and in fairness, look, the players really doubled down and trained really, really hard, and, you know, it has been a long year, but a great year.
Obviously change is part and parcel of the game, Pat. You're involved 3 years. How have Cork changed during that period?
Well, look, to be honest with you, I got a very highly motivated group of men when I came in. You know, I thought Kieran and his group had left me with a team that was really, really motivated. Very simple, you know. I mean, we got better players in, you know, really good conveyor belt of under 20s and minors and stuff like that. And in fairness to the older lads, they embraced that. It was something we spoke about, that these were going to give our lads the opportunities to win medals and compete and get to All-Ireland finals. And once you have better players, it builds competition. The best hurling team, the team that have the most skill, wins the All-Irelands. That's always been the case. That'll always be the case. You know, I suppose there was a lot of narrative with the Great Limerick team that they were big and they were strong and they had all this extra physicality. They were the best hurling team. That's the key. Do you know what I mean? Clare were the best hurling team last year.
A common friend, if you like, that would have always advised us that you have to be good to yourself before you can be good to anybody else. How is Pat Ryan in this managerial role good to himself?
Look, I suppose the most important thing, Donal, is that, look, you've great people with you. You know, that share the responsibility, share the workload. Obviously, look, I'm front and centre of it, and look, sometimes I get too much credit, and then sometimes I get too much abuse, maybe. But look, from my point of view, look, I have a brilliant wife at home, brilliant family, brilliant structure in that way, and that makes life really easy. I think once I got into management, you know, it was always about the players when I get into coaching and all that, and how they watch. I don't measure my self-worth and how Cork are going or how they're not going, and I think that's helped me from the good days and the bad days. So in all those games, whether you win or lose, you're trying to assess what were the things that we did right and what were the things we did wrong. And, you know, I think, look, I suppose the Limerick game was probably the biggest disappointment since I've come in, because we felt we didn't represent the jersey.
It's 20 years since we won an All-Ireland senior hurling title, Pat. Does that add a weight to yourself, to the team?
It doesn't add a weight. I suppose, look, from my point of view, look, it's an annoyance, really, to be honest with you. I suppose, look, when I first got involved with the under-20s, you know, like, we hadn't won a minor title, we hadn't won a 20 title. There's a lot of work going on in the background, and it was to get the kind of, I suppose, the negativity off the pages. Just get back to talking about hurling, get back to talking about games, not what we hadn't won. And, you know, look, we've ticked a lot of boxes in those areas. You know, we fellas coming out of college now that never saw Cork winning All-Ireland, like, that's, you know, that's unheard of, like.
It's always something special when Cork and Tip meet in anything. What does it mean for you?
It means huge, Donald. You know, look, I suppose if we go back to our days when we played together, we managed to beat Tip in a Munster under-20 final. I think Liam and Michael were playing. You know, two brilliant men, two brilliant J-men. You know, you see how they've rallied around Tipperary. Do you know what I mean? There's been a huge swell of support for them. Their hype train is well and truly going, I can tell you.
Anthony Daly spoke very well at the weekend, Pat, about the speech you gave in the Clare dressing room after last year's All-Ireland final. What did that feel like? Look,
obviously I was disappointed after the All-Ireland final, but I was really, really proud of our fellas. And I just felt that I had to go in and say something to Clare. I think that's what would have been done traditionally. What I said, to be honest, look, even when I'm standing in front of the players, I don't really make up speeches or have it written down what I'm doing. I just try and speak from what comes into my head. Sometimes it gets a bit muddled, maybe like today, but it's just more what comes into my head. And the one thing I remember saying to the Clare fellas was not to drink too much that night, because, you know, they're special nights, you need to be able to enjoy it. I think that Sunday after an All-Ireland, that Monday after an All-Ireland, you know, being able to remember it, you know, knowing where you are, knowing who we're talking to, knowing who the people around. I think that's one of the things I said to him, and I thought it was vital to go in and just give our congratulations to them.
Well, it's something they obviously haven't forgotten, Pat, and hopefully you won't have to do it again. I wish you the best.
Cheers, Don. Appreciate it.
So good, just hearing a couple of hurling men having a little chat there. Anthony, as we look at how Cork got to this final, there's so much you could have taken out of that interview.
Yeah, watched it last night as well, and two of them pure natural, which our teammates do, and they always get on well, I'd say. And he's just a natural to talk to. He's honest in his opinions. It's never too high or too low, as he mentioned himself. And I can tell you the bit of advice he gave to the Clare lads anyway. I couldn't believe how witted they were when they came home off the bus. I met them all. They were taking it all in. I think they listened and appreciated that it was a special time for them and to take it in. And for the losing manager, that's very difficult. I mean, hasn't happened to me in All-Ireland, but in provincial finals and things I've had to go down, and it's a very, very difficult place to be. But the respect he has, I think, of so many people around the country. He's a great hurling man. And Liam as well. I think both of them have had their ups and downs, and large ones in Pat's part, in life and on the field, off the field, and he has come through, and he's still the same guy.
You could see it through both of the interviews, actually, because it is important to mention Liam there as well, because sometimes maybe he gets left behind. There's so much talk about Pat Ryan.
Yeah, but I think, to go back to Pat, I think he also spoke very well in Donal Logue's interview about being player-led, and I think that's a big part of it, I think, being player-led. But actually, it's unique. I guess when we lost the final in 2009, Joanne, and I had to go in and talk to the Kilkenny dressing room, I felt coming in like we were massive underdogs coming in the year after. It's just so unusual that Cork find themselves in a situation where they were beaten in last year's final and they're coming in as massive favourites.
And they haven't won in 20 years. I was trying to think when the last time that happened. Maybe Galway 17-ish.
And I think the biggest challenge for Pat is to manage and put and change. The hype train is going to turn into a pressure cooker here in an hour's time, and being able to deal with that pressure that's going to come. I think that is his greatest challenge today, because the players, and there clearly is leadership within the white lines, but just making sure everyone is dialed in and they can deliver that 70-minute performance. Because I can tell you one thing, Liam Cahill will have his men finely tuned. I would be very, very confident that Tip will bring a massive performance to the pitch today.
Dealing with the pressure and all sorts of pressures as well.
Yeah, he's like Liam, he's got a terrific record with under-20s and so on. Pat mentioned social media in terms of one of the different things. It's not for everybody, that job. You're out there, you're talking to the press, everybody knows who you are, everybody knows your job. There's a lot of management goes into the players. You even look at the Cork squad for this game. Ethan Toomey started, won the National Hurling League, would have played with Pat previously. Now he's not even in the matchday squad. That's very hard management. That's a really tough conversation, and these two lads manage teams. That takes time. It takes energy. Jack O'Connor was in the squad, his own clubmate this time. So it's not for everybody, and it's definitely not for some of the lads on social media using false names and so on, what these men do for the game.
Well, hopefully there'll be none of that, only all of us enjoying a great spectacle of hurling. Agus Más Míle Liv, a Gúpla Nóid to Gráine, Sarah View, Aaron RT News Channel, Agus Aaron RT player, Le Clé Clanish Moniacht and the Heron Oscoilga. We'll no doubt get to various matchups a little bit closer to throw in, but one that does seem likely is the Cork captain versus a tip forward who's enjoyed a slightly different role this year.
Team that didn't make the playoff stages last year but came back with new lads. It was sheer, utter heart, sheer, utter passion that was unquenchable. Not even Kilkenny could stop it.
I suppose sobering winter for us all. Pride was swallowed, and really it was just about coming back in. It wasn't an overnight switch or anything like that. It was just a lot of hard work and realisation from the players that this county deserved better than what we had given them as players. And I suppose the onus was on us as players. We're the ones that could take to the field, So that was it, really. We're really happy to be in an All-Ireland final now. One more step of the way to go.
Oh, what a fantastic goal! Robert Downey from Dead Rovers, unstoppable.
Looking back at the All-Ireland final, it's probably still kind of hard to talk about, when you lose a game after giving so much for the 90 minutes that the game was on, and then to lose by a point. I think this year we really kind of knuckled down, and we used it as a small bit of kind of fire to kind of keep us going, really. We grew up listening to stories about Cork teams competing in finals, whether it be Munster final or All-Ireland final, so to be back in one now is fantastic, and we're looking forward to it.
This is Tipperary's day. This is a coming of age of this team.
If I was to say there was a turning point, it was probably just the attitudes that the players showed up with, and the team Liam assembled for this year. What we're after coming through together over the last couple of years. Tough times, sleepless nights for us as players and management, being ashamed walking down your own street of how you're after performing on the Sunday, being told about it as well. When something does get thrown at you like that you just rally for each other, we're always told play to the final whistle, and it's a really good never say die attitude in this team.
We're thinking of you, Pat, because I know this is emotional for everybody in the Ryan family.
Pat is our leader. He's the fella that sets the standards and stuff during the week. I'm kind of nearly blue in the face now saying it at this stage, but Pat means an awful lot to us. We love him as players. on that day, it was a bit raw for him. So we were just delighted too to get over the line for ourselves. But for a man like him, he never showed any emotion to us throughout the weeks when we were preparing for big games. So for him, it was great too.
Look, yeah, we've taken on Cork 3 times this year, and obviously we have learned a lot. They're in red hot form. They're a team that likes scoring green flags. And I suppose the way it's gone nowadays with the analysis and stuff, they'll be really familiar with how we're playing as well. So regardless of what way the result goes, I think we can hold our head high after the match.
Perfect day for it. Liam Sheedy says they don't believe in free hits down in Tipperary. Somebody always loses, he said. Well, both of these teams are absolutely gunning to get their hands back on Liam McCarthy. It really is a lovely sunny, muggy day. There are two men who've already been there and done that. Jimmy and Shawnee coming in to be part of this sellout crowd for a very, very special day. And lots of those coming up. We have a busy few weeks of sport on RTE. Euro 2025 coming to a conclusion. Another huge weekend of Gaelic games. Camogie semis on Saturday. Then the All-Ireland football final on Sunday. We have 4 days of the Galway races and 3 days of the Dublin Horse Show at the RDS. Liam, let's get straight into talking about what it is that has made this Cork attack so devastating.
Yeah, well, I think they showed a lot of, when they're fully connected and in flow, I think they showed us exactly what they're capable of. Watch their inside line. They love staying inside the 21. The half forwards go back outside the 65, and they're looking to create that separation between their inside line, and the half backs of Dublin are caught in no man's land. And ball going in front of Brian Hayes there. Potentially Darragh Fitzgibbon coming off the shoulder, half goal chance. But again, they love this, creating that space for their inside line, and their inside line straight away back in. And again, look at the gap that's between Darragh Fitzgibbon and his man and Declan Dalton. And again, because of the space inside, they're forced to foul, free in. And again, this was happening a lot. And it's the same with Dudsey. Dudsey's on the other wing. Watch him, he's well back out of position. He's coming back into outside his own midfield, back collecting ball. And watch the patience of the backs here. We'll get the ball across to Kieran Joyce, and watch the movement inside. They've now got this diamond formation. Alan Connolly's at the top of the triangle, and Brian Hayes has moved from his 13 corner over to his 15. So there's a lot of diagonal movement. There's a lot of movement in there. And of course, when this guy gets it, he just wants to take you on. And if Alan Connolly gets the ball in there, he's going to put it in the back of the net. And again, wonderful, wonderful play. And their puck-out strategy from Patrick Collins, I think, is much better this year. You can see they've cleared out the 10 box. They've left it free for Decky Dalton, who's come across from 12, and he's got a very, very free puck. And again, in the second half, they're expecting the long ball, but again, they've cleaned out the 10 box. This time it's Darragh Fitzgibbon comes on, and watch, all the Cork players have gone to the far side. Dublin expecting a 5-by-5. They switch off, and all of a sudden a simple point for Darragh Fitzgibbon. So I guess when you look at the way Cork play under Pat Ryan, they've got a really good distribution and connection to their goalie for their restarts. They've got a big separation between their inside line and their half forward line. And again, when they get the ball, they're very smart in terms of deliver. So I think we know that when Cork are in flow state, Joanne, it's very, very hard to defend against them. And I think Liam Cahill knows exactly what Cork are bringing to Croke Park today. The question for us is, can he mitigate that, and can he deal with what Cork are going to bring?
Crucially, John, just to say on that, I thought Galway opened up Tip quite a bit, especially in the first half of the quarter-final. They gave Kilkenny very little scope. Only at the end, Kilkenny had a goal scoring chance.
Do you think they've tightened up a lot?
I think they're very clever on the line. I think they'll have looked hard. I know the time is short now. One time you had 4 or 5 weeks, 2 weeks, but I think they'll have looked hard at those sort of tactics and said, where can we get the squeeze on?
But as we've just seen from Liam's piece, the way Cork attack is very different to the way that the other team's attack, is it not? With the movement, the space doesn't happen by accident, quite clearly.
Well, everybody's trying to create space. That's what forwards love, Joanne. Especially here, like you hear about other fields being as big as Croke Park. This feels big when you're out here. And the one thing you can't have as an inside defence, whether it's 1v1, 2v2 or 3v3, is space between yourself and the rest of the defenders. No, it's easier said than done, and it needs to be a chain. You can't. It'll be interesting to see Would Tip be tempted for a bit of the game to sit someone in that position like a Sam O'Farrell or someone? But then there's a trade-off in the rest of the field. And Cork, to their credit, only Limerick have really dominated Cork in that middle third this year. So it's all a trade-off. But what you can't give those inside forwards or any forwards, and it is a bit obscured. Like the Dublin were really poor, that must be said, in terms of especially the space to give that Cork full forward line.
Listen to that noise. What a feeling it must be for Rob Downey to lead that team out like this. And just as they're coming out, the sun comes out. It's absolutely beaming down.
Yeah, it is. And again, just to pick up on Donald Logue's point there, because I definitely think that Darren McCarthy will come out and play a little bit deeper outside and leave Jason and John inside. I think that will free up Sam O'Farrell. I mean, Sam O'Farrell, all of his top hurling with Nina has been in the half-back line, so he'll be well capable of coming back. So especially in the first 15-20 minutes, Joanne, I can see Tip playing a little bit deeper, and I think Brian O'Mara will be in the central position, and he'll look to drop back in deep as well, because what Tip wants to do in this first 15-20 minutes is just tighten.
And we know, because Pat Ryan said in his interview, I mean, they make no secret of it. They want to go for goals and they want this really, really good start. Just if I can remind you of what Neil O'Callaghan said after the Dublin were beaten by Cork, he said, "What are we here for? Stepping off or going zonal or providing more cover inside? I've no doubt we'd be criticised that it's something we should have done against a team like Cork with the ability they have. You mightn't concede 7 goals, but you will lose."
Yeah, and fair play to Neil for that being his attitude. They were beaten 20 points, though, Joanne, there's no getting away from it, and you have to try and stay in the game with this Cork team, and let's face it, we were on duty for it, I was anyway, and it seemed over at half-time, to be honest. It didn't seem like a way back, so we all saw last year's final. They started like a train. Robert Downey ran into the field, planted one in the roof of the net, and only for Shane O'Donnell maybe grabbing a ball and wouldn't give up on it and getting it across to Aidan McCarthy, clear getting a crucial goal to get some bit of a foothold. They could have been blown away as well. So this crowd are lethal at the start, and if they get off to that start, it might be very hard for Tip to be in the game.
But it could be really important for Cork to get goals, because Tip can get goals on the other side as well. Tip like goals as much as everybody else. And there is, back to that point about the semi-final, it's not a good lens to be looking at through the team in that Dublin game. You look back to the first round that we were at, Anthony, will we ever forget it? Cork conceded 3 goals in that game in the second half. Against Limerick, they conceded 3 goals as well. There's every risk here today with the way that Tip play, with the likes of John McGrath and these guys, that they could score 4 goals against Cork. Then Cork are going to need those goals on the other side.
And I just want to ask you a little question about Ronan Maher, who just let out Tipperary there. He did this interview with Paul Carroll of Tip FM, which was put up online, and Paul asked him about, there are obviously photos inside Thurles Sarsfields, inside the clubhouse, of Sarsfields players who've captained Tipperary to the All-Ireland. And as soon as he started asking the question, Ronan's entire face lit up. He knew exactly where he was going.
Yeah, I mean, he's an exceptional leader, and what he's done for Tipperary, I mean, his performance in the 2016 All-Ireland final here against Kilkenny, I think he had to go home and lie down for the hours. I think he missed all of the banquet and everything, because he left everything out here on that pitch. I've never seen a guy outside of his brother to train as hard. An incredible family. And again, in 2019, in the semi-final and final, this guy stood up. And again, whether he'll be on, who will be marking, but if Cork put ball down on top of Ronan Maher and he's catching, I think it drives the Tipperary crowd really, really through the roof.
Well, that leads us very nicely to what you have picked out, because the man of the moment this year, despite all the great performances we've seen, Brian Hayes, and what he does for this Cork team.
Yeah, Joanne, for me, he has just been a revelation. He's the fulcrum. You see here, we saw it last year, this touch-on, puck-out strategy, where Patrick Collins sees the hurley going up. Like, he knows exactly what he's at here. He's to touch it on. Now, you got a slightly heavy touch, if I'm being critical, so it goes outside Dudsey. Dudsey has the presence of mind to see the altar, but look, he got the step on Paddy Smith, and he just won't miss when he gets inside, and they look for him. They know Liam has highlighted when they're in flow, the touch here from Hoggy, but the way Paddy Smith gets sucked to Connolly in possession, he's there. Now, we saw Limerick missing a goal chance like this. No chance Sean Brennan saves that, but the way he does. He's doing it all year. The round robin against Tip Owen Connolly, I don't think they'll want Owen Connolly on him as good as Owen Connolly has been playing. He's been brilliant, he's in contention for an answer. To see Tim O'Mahony's run here, that takes a special type of player. That's not an edge of the square full forward type. Look at, if you're going to stop him, a bit like the Clare lads did last year, Mike Casey here, he doesn't win it clean, but he's out in front. Again here you can see Hayes has the step, Casey gambles. You must play risk-reward. Lean and Hogan did it last year, they got great reward, and he sets up an attack here, Mike Casey, in the Munster final, and they held him, although he had a huge hand in Shane Barrett's goal, they held him to a point from play. If you can hold him, if Tip can hold him, whatever matchup, we're speculating, me and him all week, about who'll pick him up.
Who did you decide?
Well, I think, you know, it's between Mikey Breen and Ronan Maher. Personally, I'd love to have the two of them on him. So if it's a high ball coming down between the two of them, I'd love to have Ronan Maher beside him. And if it's a thing that Brian Hayes is getting the ball, or it's a sprint to the ball, I'd love Mikey Breen to be on him.
Wouldn't Alan Connolly and Patrick Horgan love if you did that?
Well, yeah, they would. But
I think Breen.
I think myself and Anthony were on for the league match in Thurles, and we were right behind. We could nearly touch off him in Thurles in that league match. And Mikey Breen done a smashing job on Brian Hayes that night.
Well as the players you can see there on the pitch at the moment, we also have two men who must be very proud. One who's been part of a Jubilee celebration for the first time, the first of 10 times, and one who's about to watch a number of young men he's already guided to All-Ireland glory, trying to emulate that success on an even bigger stage, and also Davies here too.
Brendan Cummins and Henry Shefflin are with me, and Brendan, just set the scene for us here. What's the key factor for today's game?
Well, I think for Tipperary it's going to be the first 10 to 15 minutes, Damien. The way they set up, they probably will play with two forwards inside to get extra bodies out around the middle to stop the supply going into Hayes and the killer forwards inside, and maybe getting down the home straight. The experience of having our Ireland medals, and this place is going to go mad when Noel McGrath comes onto the field of play if Tipperary are still in the hunt.
Henry?
Yeah, well, I think it's an All-Ireland final, so first 15-20 minutes there's going to be a lot of nerves, Damien. I'm actually for Tip, I'm more conscious of the 15 minutes before the first half ends, because that's the period where favourites tags get into the flow, Cork are the expectation, they have the pressure on them, but it's that period before half-time. If Tip can have it tight heading in the break at half-time, they'll be in a good position for the second half.
And Brendan, alluding to what Henry said, in the semi-final it took Tipperary about 20 minutes to settle. 8 of that team hadn't played her before. Will that benefit them now, a game later?
Yeah, you'd expect so, there's no doubt about it. You have to learn, as Henry knows, you have to go through the mill. Tipperary steadied the ship really well, especially in the wind and rain, came back out over the hill on that day against Kilkenny. So there is a known that we can get it right, but Tipperary have to start fast today. And when you start, it has to be 6 forwards on each side of the pitch, so that creates space initially.
But Brendan, I think for Tipperary, the character, it's all about character. This is our Ireland final day. This is the biggest of them all, Damien. So it's that character, and you know from those young chaps, they have good character, and that really stood in the semi-final. But look, the expectation is all on Cork here today. They have to do it. The pressure's really on them. But look, what we've seen so far this year, Damien, has been champagne hurling. And that's what the conditions are leaning itself towards that as well.
And it's really, really warm down here at pitch side as well. Brendan, there's a sea of red again, but for that Cork full forward line to succeed and get the ball into them, do the Tipperary half forward line have to work like never before to starve them of possession inside?
Well, that's the absolute key. When you play Cork, it's like going to the Olympics. You just have to keep chasing runners all the time. You cannot switch off. And especially where we are here, Damien, if Henry gets that leg ahead of me and he's Dara Fitzgibbon, he's inside in the 21, the blink of an eye, getting a pop pass. So you all the time have to try to be goal side out here. And that takes huge concentration. So Tipperary, I'd expect, will take one of their full forward line out around the middle to make it 9v9 rather than 8v8. And let's see what Cork will do. But somebody tracking back in there to try to protect the full back line is key, isn't it, Henry?
I think so, but I think before the semi-final we would say Kilkenny are going to score the goals. Tip got the goals. We're saying today Cork are the ones scoring all the goals. Can Tip flip that on his head? And I suppose that's where Darren McCarthy, John McGrath and Jason Ford, can they get the goals? Because that'll give them a chance.
OK, we're really looking forward to hear pitch side. Our All-Ireland final build-up continues after this break. Stay with us.
That first time you lift a hurley too big for your hands. That first time in the crowd to watch your hero. That first catch caught clean that you'll never forget.
Oh, it's unbelievable!
That first pure strike on the run. And that first wound as a warrior. That first battle in the park.
Traditional rivals Tipperary and Cork.
Or that first win in Semple.
What a victory!
That first broken heart. Sometimes life isn't fair.
Be another day.
And that first walk up the steps.
The famine is over.
To make it all worthwhile.
We've done it!
There's a first time for everything.
Welcome to join us here in Croke.
And maybe a last. And in this moment,
Never before in GAA history.
as the tension builds,
Historic day.
in this first,
The very first time.
time will stand still.
Welcome back to Croke Park, and it is indeed a first All-Ireland Senior Hurling final between Cork and Tipperary. Between them, they've won 58 All-Ireland titles, and today is historic. Joining me in the commentary will be Michael Duigan. You're very welcome, Michael. It's lovely to have you. In Cork are the favourites. They've won the league, they've won the Munster Championship, and in so many ways, this is a free shot for Tipperary.
Yes, it is, Marty, but I think Cork are worthy favourites. I think they've improved from last year. I think their squad is stronger. If you look at their bench, exceptional, especially up front. And I think the hurt of last year is really going to drive them on. They are worthy favourites, but I would agree with you. I think Tipperary are coming in a lovely position. They've huge experience. I mentioned this at the semi-final. They've 5 starters with All-Ireland medals. They've Noel McGrath, Seamus Kennedy on the bench. So I think that balances it. So Brian Cody's famous words, every game takes on a life of its own. Cork favourites should win if they play to their ability, but I think Tip will give them one right rattle.
So let's take a look at the teams. We'll start with Cork. The man between the posts for the Rebels is Patrick Collins from Ballinhassig. He's a fine goalkeeper. His puck-out strategy will be interesting and will possibly have a bearing on the Cork game plan. The Cork full backline of Niall O'Leary, Owen Downey and Sean O'Donoghue are expected to be tested this afternoon with what is a very impressive Tipperary full forward line. The Cork captain Robert Downey is an inspirational player at centre back. He's Kieran Joyce and Mark Coleman to his right and left, who are both outstanding hurlers. Tim O'Mahony and Darragh Fitzgibbon will wear number 8 and 9 in the middle of the field for Cork, and together they have become a powerful centre field combination. Dermot Healy, Shane Barrett and Declan Dalton are a cocktail of style, speed and skill, which makes the Cork half forward line difficult to deal with. But it's the Cork full forward line of Patrick Horgan, Alan Connolly and Brian Hayes that has people buzzing and talking. Between them, they've scored 12 goals and 67 points in just 6 games, which is quite remarkable. Seamus Harnedy and Cormac O'Brien return from injury and make the Cork 16 to 26, along with Ger Mellowick, Tommy O'Connell, Conor Lahan and Shane Kingston. It's a strong bench. Rhys Shelley is the Tipperary goalkeeper, and he really has made a huge difference since he started for the first time in the Munster Championship against Clare and Ennis. He's matured into a fine keeper, but today will face his biggest challenge. This All-Ireland title could well depend on how Tipperary full backline of Robert Doyle, Owen Connolly and Michael Breen will shortly face their biggest challenge. Ronan Maher captains Tipperary from centre back. His 2 wingmen, Craig Morgan and Brian O'Mara, have made the number 5 and number 7 jerseys their own, and so completes a strong half back line. Willie Connors from Killadangan gets the number 8 jersey, while Thurles Sarsfield's Conor Stakelum has been outstanding in recent games, so deservedly gets to start in this All-Ireland final. There are 2 Nina Aeroke hurlers in the Tipperary half-forward line, Jake Morris and Sam O'Farrell, while Andrew Orman represents J.K. Brackens from Templemore at number 11. The Tipperary full-forward line are all potential match winners. Darragh McCarthy, John McGrath and Jason Ford have scored 9 goals and 90 points in 7 championship matches. Truly remarkable by any barometer. The Premier County bench includes the McGrath brothers, Brian and Noel, Oisin O'Donoghue, but the one to really watch is Paddy McCormack, an All-Ireland under-20 medalist. It's his first time on the bench, and trust me, he's got the X factor. The referee is Liam Gordon from Killimer, County Galway.
Donal Cusack, goalkeepers obviously always play such a massive role, so you inevitably look at who has the advantage.
But I think from a Tipperary point of view, firstly, it's interesting that Rhys Shelley didn't start the first round. That was Hogan was in goals. I think he's been excellent. His puck-outs are fast, they can vary. He's a powerfully long puck-out. On the other side, then you've got Patrick Collins. I think Patrick's gotten better over the years. I always believe that a goalkeeper is a long-term investment, and you have to invest trust in them. And I just thought over this year, in terms of his puck-outs, his steadiness, his controlling balls, I think he's got improved. So between the two of them, I don't think there's that much of a difference that you could call out specifically in terms of an advantage on either side. All I'll say from a goalkeeping point of view, I hope to God we're talking about great saves today and that there isn't any of them makes an error that cost the team.
And I think just to build on that, Joanne, like the last time Tip played Cork in Croke Park was 2014. And my own clubman, Darren Leeson, who Cork didn't really know in the goals at the time, came in. Brendan was only after retiring, and he gave a masterclass inside in the goals in 2014 in that semi-final, in a game where Cork were probably coming in as favourites. So, you know, Rhys Shelley, I think, showed a lot, was in his locker the last day when the pressure was on. If you can have that same courage and deal with this cauldron in here today, I think you could have a big say, because I think if Tipperary can get their hands, I think for over the last 2 years, they've conceded 6-15 on their long puckouts. So if Rhys Shelley can get that ball into Tipperary hand, I think it can make a big impact today.
And Darren is a man we're thinking of today, an All-Ireland final day as well. And Donal, just before we get Anthony's views on something else, where the sun is, does that affect, I know that sounds like a strange question to anybody at home, but the way it's coming through the clouds there, is it difficult for goalkeepers?
It's different to the September. When you were here, if you were playing an All-Ireland final in September, especially in the second half, it'd be just coming in over that top right-hand side. So of course it does. It's actually the most difficult opponent that you'll deal with in goals, because if that ball is coming in and you can't see it, and you've trained your mind and everything, and all the coaching got us to stay calm. All of these boys will be on about
You're only there
goalkeepers.
to puck it out.
Everybody wants to be a goalkeeper until the ball is dropping underneath the bar and you can't see it.
And no one on you. You're like the golfers, no one on you.
Oh.
By the way, Robert Downey once again won the toss, and Cork have chosen to shoot into the Canal Davin, and so we'll just have a little pause, because it looks like Uachtaráin the Heron, August Uachtaráin Cumla Closcail are about to make their way out onto the pitch to meet the players ahead of throw-in.
Anish Garman Uachtaráin.
Lovely reception there from Michael D. Higgins, and also for Jarlath Burns alongside him. Anthony, this midfield battle, would you have concerns for Tipperary?
Yes, there's no doubt about it. They've been mix and match them. They've been trying different combinations along the way. Both state clubs. Now Connor did really well the last day, Joanne. I mean, when they were under the cosh against Kilkenny, and Malloy and Kenny were dominating. Connor Stakelin came up with 3 massive scores for them. Willie has been a little bit hit or miss, but if things fly for Willie early, he could be very good. I was a bit surprised maybe that Tynan didn't get a nod, but maybe they're looking to finishers or game changers. The other two powerhouses, 2 contenders for Hurlers of the Year. Mahoney the last day against Dublin, I mean, he's running. Fitzgibbon probably more comfortable there than he was at 11, even though there was so much made of the number 11 project. But the two of them now, the right age, neighbours, probably travel in together from North Cork, from Newtown and Charleville, and they certainly looked a stronger combination, but yet sometimes that position can be bypassed by the goalies, for all the world.
And I think also an interesting matchup will be, you know, John McGrath is in the form of his life, Joanne, 5-14 in this championship, and Owen Downey, you know, has had challenges at times throughout the season when it's a big but I think the brain that John McGrath has and the way he possesses to be able to get that ball into his hands, so I think that'll be one. And also I think Decky Dalton, I expect Owen Connolly will go and pick up Decky Dalton, so that'll be steel on steel, Joanne, for the first few minutes in the battle worth watching. But I think equally, if Owen Connolly could pick off a point or two, which he's very capable of doing, it just might draw Declan Dalton back up the field, because I think Brian O'Mara will go into the centre back position and look to set up there with Rowan and dropping back. So I think the matchups are very, very intriguing right throughout the field.
And we did do a fair piece on the Cork attack, John, and we didn't mention Alan Connolly specifically, really. I mean, 3-2 the last day from 7 touches of the ball.
And he loves goals against this crowd.
And like, honestly, I mentioned it the last day that for the semi-final that the way he went up and took the penalty in the Munster final shows that he's almost nerveless in some ways, and that's a fella coming into an All-Ireland final. You like those guys that did not thinking about the occasion. They're saying, this was made for me and I was made for this, and they're often the guys that can turn it for you.
And I think that's the key point, Anthony. When there's a bit talked about, weight on your shoulders. All of these guys, as you know well, ever since they were under 12, under 14, competing, trying to get on teams, then getting onto the inter-county teams, getting onto the minor teams, then they're the best of their minors, then they move on to the under 20, under 21s, and then they go into a senior environment that's so competitive. You actually should love, I always believed, you love that weight. You love that challenge, and it hopefully will be used as a fuel by Cork. I remember us losing one All-Ireland final to Kilkenny and being back the next year, and before we left this field here, we spoke about that we were going to burn that feeling into our brains and never forget it.
Doesn't Ronan Maher look like he was determined to make the most of this occasion? Patrick Horgan, we can't not talk about Patrick Horgan. Do you know Liam Sheedy when Patrick Horgan made his debut?
Yeah. 2008 against.
Do you know what happened that day?
I do, yeah. I think we won 119 to 113 as far as I can remember.
It was Tiperary's.
Remember that,
it was Tipperary's first win in Cork since 1923. Patrick Horgan, this youngster, came on in the 68th minute, not given much of a chance to make his impact then. But how much impact he has made since that day back in 2008. And the role that he still plays, Donaloe, within that team. I mean, you were there when he made the debut.
Yeah, I think Liam mentioned about Noel McGrath, but I think all of the players really, they've grown around Patrick in terms of, his views on the game, his commitment to it. He's fascinated by the game. He's totally focused on it. Every time I hear him saying that, I love hearing him saying it, but that's the standard that's expected. All those Tipperary young fellas that are coming out here today to play in it, they have to be totally engrossed in the game. They wouldn't get here otherwise. But back to Patrick, I think his whole presence, his whole demeanour, even if Patrick will come out and miss one free here today, and we've seen him missing certain handy frees, he still has that composure, and most importantly, that belief inside himself that he's going to get the next one.
But equally, Joanne, I think, when you look at it, there's an awful lot of talk about the Cork foul. I think if I was Liam Cahill, like, this is a serious Tipperary foul line, and I think in Jake Morris is in line for the year. If he gets on ball, he's got the experience of getting big goals in under 20 games, under 21 games, and I think Jake Morris could have a really big game if he's not tracked today.
And who will be the dark horse, Joanne? Who will be the one?
There's always one, isn't there?
There is, back right through the decades. 30 years ago this year, my buddy Fergie Toohey, 4 points in a tight game. Just one guy seems to come out of nowhere and just click on the day, and he's often the nerveless fella, the fella that doesn't let the occasion get to him, that he's just enjoying the whole thing.
And I think it's interesting, Joanne, last time we won in 19, Kilkenny had to come down and shake hands with us. That's one omen. And the second thing is, when we won
he's clinging.
When we won the All-Ireland in 10, in 16 and 19, we were in the dugout where Liam Cahill is today. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of omens looking good here today.
You worried, what's it like now? So Michael D. Higgins has come out, he's met all of the players. Is this when you start to relax, you start to get really tense?
We want all this to finish. To be honest, I respect the President of Ireland. You've no more interest in the President of Ireland. It could be anyone coming out to say hello to you. You just want the game started. You just want to get on that ball, get things moving. That's what you want. You're here. The game is the game. To win the game. If you win today, you'll watch this times over and over again. If you lose it, you might never again watch it. Any of the All-Ireland finals I lost, I never watched them again, to be honest.
Liam Sheedy, the last 2 times that Tipperary met Cork, they had scored 12 points, Tip had by half-time. Cork had scored 316 and 315 by the break.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, and I think Tip will set up. But equally, Joanne, when Cork came in here in the All-Ireland final in 2021, they only managed to raise 1 green flag. When they came in 2024, they only managed to raise 1 green flag. So the question is, will we have the Cork that we've seen all year, banging in goals at will, and especially going for teams early on, or will you have a little bit more settled approach from Tip, where they managed to keep it really, really tight? So that's what makes this game so intriguing, Joanne. But both teams have the capacity to get goals. So yeah, let's see how it plays out.
We're only getting ready, actually. There's a little bit of a delay here, so they're only getting ready now to take their place in the parade. You can see, just looking at Pat Ryan, seeing Liam Cal before, they're like Jonah Lowe. Get it over with, get that ball thrown in, let's see what happens.
Yeah, and it's very much out of their control as well, Joanne. They'll have XYZ up their sleeve, but they're dependent now, and we mentioned both managers are very trustworthy of the bunch of men that they've entrusted to line out there and what they'll bring in from the sideline.
And one thing you do never forget is when you turn this corner that they're heading down into now, which is Muhammad Ali corner. Rarely called that, but that's Muhammad Ali corner there in Croke Park. And you turn and you face what seems a huge wall of Hill 16 around you. That's something that you'll never ever forget.
What is your sense, Liam Sheedy, especially when you listen to this and what it's like out there for the young players and for the Tipperary players who have those Celtic crosses already banked?
Oh, listen, I mean, it's realising your greatest dream, Joanne. I mean, your dream is to get in, to get to shake the hand, to get to walk behind the parade ring, or the parade. But most important of all is to go out there and be yourself on the biggest game of their lives in some cases for some of these younger players. I think the fact that they've won underage titles really helps because they're used to being in big matches and big finals. But I think, you know, and again, Cork can tip down over the years. It wouldn't be unusual for a team to go at 6 or 7 up, another team to claw back. And I mean, this game will probably ebb and flow. I heard Eamon O'Shea talking about 4 quarters in this game. So I think generally what you get is you just get spontaneous, you get incredible skill, you get incredible scores. And I think that's what we're all looking forward to today. It's dried up, and I think it's set for a perfect game of hurling.
And I would say, Joanne, in this moment, you probably think of your family sitting there. It's very hard for them. I often thought of the people who coached me in the school and up through underage in my club, that they brought me to this day, and that was a proud moment for them.
And it means there are so many nerves. Interesting slip of the tongue from Liam Sheedy there mentioning parade ring. It does bring you back to the old donkey derby, doesn't it? They did, as you can see, a shorter parade there, so we're almost set to go in this absolute cauldron. Arish Mosmi live, so Croke to fall off the Gael Patflurry, August Gary McDonagh, Air Serview, Air North News Channel, August Air North player. But our commentary team for the 2025 All-Ireland Hurling Final, Cork against Tipperary, it's Michael and Marty.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Well, since the J was founded in Thurles in County Tipperary 141 years ago, there has never been a day like this. Croke Park is packed to capacity, buzzing with excitement. The noise, the roars are reaching crescendo levels that are only reserved for All-Ireland final days in Croke Park. And look at the colours, 82,300 decked out in the red and white of Cork and the blue and gold of Tipperary. It's a special day. For the first time in history, you are watching an All-Ireland hurling final between the greatest of sporting rivals, rich in tradition that produced a galaxy of stars since their first meeting in 1888. Think Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, Kerry and Dublin footballers, think Cork and Tipperary hurlers. The history between these two can be both exhilarating, but also things can get a bit hot. Matches have been abandoned, like the 1926 Munster final, when the crowd invaded the pitch and rows developed everywhere. The match was only on for 25 minutes. And do you remember, or were you even born, for Richie Stekelenham's famous speech in 1987 when they beat the Rebels in the Munster final and he said the famine is over? That link with the past continues as Richard's nephew Conor Stekelenham plays in midfield today, and his brother Dara is a substitute for Tipperary. Richie's children, Eber is in London, Kira's in Shanghai, and Conor's in Mexico, watching their cousin Conor march behind the Artane band. It's an emotional day for the Stekelenhams. It's 20 years since Cork won the All-Ireland. Mary McAleese was President of Ireland. Bertie Ahern was Taoiseach. Cork became the European capital of culture, and the M50 was completed. Roy Keane announced his retirement from international football and left Manchester United. Meanwhile, Tip footballers were winning the Tommy Murphy Cup. The parade behind the Artane band is part of the history. No other sport in the world parades the teams around the pitch. They have just completed it. It's traditional. And certainly for Robert Downey, and indeed for Ron and Marr, it was a proud moment to guide their county around Croke Park. And here, although Cork are favourites, let me just give you one little tidbit. If Tipperary are looking for a sign, Port Rush has only held the Open 3 times, 1951, 2019 and this weekend. Who won the All-Ireland hurling titles in 51 and 2019? You got it, Tipperary. And today is a day I'm acutely aware which can be a little sad for families. There's an empty chair in the room and a family bereavement, and I've no doubt that the Tipperary hurlers today are thinking of the late Dylan Quirk
a brilliant hurler and teammate who died in Semple Stadium in Thurles 3 years ago. As we pause for a run of Ian. So this is it. It's actually 3:35 in the afternoon on Sunday, July 20th, 2025. Between Cork and Tipperary, they have 97 Munster hurling titles, 58 All-Ireland titles. But this, as I said earlier, is different. It's the first All-Ireland final ever between the Rebels and the Premier County. And for Liam Gordon from Killimer in County Galway, it is also his first All-Ireland final. Goodbye to form. Hello, passion and pride. This is the battle of the superheroes in a game of hurling, and the All-Ireland hurling final is on. Cork won the toss, deciding to play from left to right as we look at it. In other words, from Hill 16 down towards the Davin end, and they go into the attack immediately. This is Dermot Hooley from Liscool having his first shot of goal and sending it between the posts and over the bar. What a start for Liscool. What a start for Dermot Hooley.
Yeah, great play there by Tim O'Mahony. Lovely little flick out. Looking at Ronan Maher has gone back on Brian Hayes. We're probably expecting that, and Owen Connolly moving out into the corner.
First puck out for Rhys Shelley. From McCarthy Boris going distance. Oh, beautifully caught by Mark Coleman. Ball into space, didn't really work out. Tipperary read it well. Sends it into the middle. Good work initially by Brian O'Mara, who anticipated it well. Going back to gather is Sean O'Donoghue. Played really well against Dublin. Giving it back to his goalkeeper, Patrick Collins from Ballinhassig. Laying it off first, the captain from Glen Rovers, Robert Downey. Downey going long. Cutting across is Brian O'Mara again, anticipating where Downey was going to send the slither. Giving it back to his keeper, Rhys Shelley. His first start in the championship was against Clare and Ennis, going for distance. 2 against 2 up front. Little touch knocked away. Robert Downey is there. Coming in to challenge is John McGrath. Downey going down it first time, second time. Gathers it. Tries to get the ball away. Come back is Niall O'Leary from Castle Lyons. Patrick Collins has the time and the composure. Giving it over for Dara Fitzgibbon. Half blocked. Tipperary doing well. Opportunity to score. Coming forward is Sam O'Farrell, laying it off quickly. Opportunity coming for Tipperary, and that's over the bar. Good score, Tipperary, and a good response. The 2 number 10s with the first scores in this All-Ireland final. Jake Morris.
Yeah, and Jake has been in brilliant form. Just looking there, Brian O'Mara has gone loose at the back for Tipperary. They're playing with an extra defender. Craig Morgan has gone centre half back to pick up Shane Barrett. That's all about pace. 2 of the paciest players in the game. And here's Declan Dalton onto it.
Ball down for us. Declan Dalton, as Michael says. Referee Ian Gordon blows his whistle. He spotted the infringement. It's a free in for Cork.
Yeah, a bit of holding off the ball. I think Robert Doyle had a grip of Alan Connolly, and Ronan Maher had a grip of Brian Hayes. And I suppose that's what's going to happen today. They're going to be tightly marked. And just interesting there, when Rhys Shelley got that last ball, he looked up, there was no spare man because Tip have a man back, so he just went long and eventually broke out. So there may be a little bit of a lack of pace in there with Jason Ford and John McGrath.
Patrick Horgan with his first point in this All-Ireland final. Coming into this big day, the climax of the championship season for the Rebels and indeed for Tipperary. Patrick Horgan had scored 3 goals and 50 points. Ball into the space. It was intended for Shane Barrett. Didn't quite work out. Coming forward is Ronan Maher. Giving it into the centre. Great pressure by Cork. Perhaps over-carrying, but they get away with it. Owen Connolly sends along the surface over to Sam O'Farrell, captain of the Tipperary under-20 All-Ireland winning team. He clenches the fists. But the ball is signal wide. Disappointment for Sam O'Farrell. For Liam Carroll, he really has done a wonderful job. Tipperary, they were so heartbroken and disappointed not to come out of Munster last year.
Yeah, Marty, Willie Connors has picked up Declan Dalton. That's leaving Brian O'Mara loose. They're playing with 7 defenders, Tipperary.
Brian O'Mara, great interception by Conor Stakelin. Slither is loose and available, picked up by Robert Downey. Downey hopping the slither between his own 45 and 65, stepping away, thinking perhaps what he did against Clare. Oh, beautiful scale. Darragh Fitzgibbon gets a little bit of space. He created himself, but is the ball wide? The umpires are unsure, and we're going to Hawkeye after 4 minutes and, 22 seconds. But the skill of Darragh Fitzgibbon really fooling the Tipperary defender, but just possibly tailing outside the post.
Yeah.
Is it a Thor, is it a Neil?
Well, the wind is after picking up significantly, Marty. We can see it here, our notes and papers being blown around the place. That's a wide ball. But this wind wasn't here during the warm-up, during anything. They were taking their shots, and this has added another layer, I suppose, to the game, makes it more difficult for the players.
Good puck out by Rhys Shelley, finding Andrew Ormond, one of the stars of the championship of 2025 for Tipperary. But this time he sends it wide, second wide in the match for the Premier County.
Yeah, a little bit of nerves. There were 2 good chances there, 3 good chances there. Fitzgibbon, Sam O'Farrell and Andrew Ormond, points that normally score, but that's a bit of jitters early.
And in the league final, Michael, and in the Munster Championship round robin, Cork scored 3 goals in the opening half. This is obviously a priority for Tipperary, not to concede any goals, but particularly 3 of them.
They want to keep it as tight as they can for as long as they can. We all knew that coming up here. But Cork will work the ball through the lines and try to score from distance. But this is great work by Tip again.
Tipperary are working hard. Good catch by Andrew Ormond. Great defending Mark Coleman. Back out for his own Connolly. 4 points against Limerick. 3 points against Kilkenny. And Owen Connolly raises a wide flag down at the Hill 16 end.
Well, there's no doubt this man is going to be the highest scoring full-back of all time in the season. It's unbelievable the strike this man has him from both from frees and from general play.
Patrick Collins going for distance. Wind a factor in this opening half. As Michael said, it wasn't there in the parade, or it wasn't there earlier. They're queuing up, but the pass goes astray. Tipperary have the slipper once more, putting it into the centre. Coming forward is Brian Hayes, pulling on the ground. Good to see a bit of ground hurling in the All-Ireland final. Comes down to Jake Morris, All-Ireland minor in 2016, All-Ireland under 21 in 2018. He's going for distance, he's going for a score, but that ball is left to the post and wide, third wide of the match for Tipperary.
And that's the trade-off. He looked down, there was only 2 forwards, and Robert Downey was standing in front of Sean O'Donoghue and Owen Downey, so he went for the distance and wasn't on.
Ball into the space again. Over towards Patrick Horgan. Turning. And that too is outside the post. His traditional style of swinging the slither over his right-hand shoulder, just not coming off this time. Rhys Shelley goes for a short puck out. Tipperary looking sharp. Darragh McCarthy turning. Sending the ball in. 1 against 1. Breaking ball. Knocked away. Robert Downey does well. Aided and abetted by the younger brother Owen. 2 All-Stars from 2024. Patrick Collins from Ballinhassig. I'm sure his president of Ballinhassig, Willie Coleman, is enjoying the fact that Patrick Collins is playing for Cork. Cork have their slipper once more between the 45 and 65, and this time it's over the bar. Great score. Shane Barrett putting his name on the score sheet.
Yeah, what a shoulder here by Declan Dalton. He took out Willie Connors fairly, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip, broke the Barrett over the bar.
Again, a good puck out by Rhys Shelley towards Brian O'Mara. Diagonal ball, spreading it wide. John McGrath. And the Tipperary forwards latching onto the loose ball, but they're finding it difficult to find the target. That is now their 4th wide, and there's only 8 minutes gone. Robert Downey. Kieran Joyce relieves the pressure. Batted away on this occasion. Diarmuid Healy scored a goal and 5 points in his league debut against Kilkenny. Sending it into the centre, crossfield ball. Tipperary should have the situation under control. Come back is Willie Connors to Rhys Shelley. Again, he's going for the Cusick stand side. Chasing after this, Jason Ford. And John McGrath. Cork defence under a little bit of pressure. Good work by Sean O'Donoghue. Laying it off. Fires Mark Coleman. Innes Cara to Blarney. To relieve the pressure from a defensive position to the attack. Shane Barrett is a real speed wizard. Blarney trying to get inside the Tipperary cover and sending it from a very difficult angle. Despite the best work of Craig Morgan, Shane Barrett gets his second point of the match. Look at this, for sheer determination, skill, style, excellent. Going back to gather is Willie Connors. Has really matured, hit a fair shoulder by Tim O'Mahony, 8 on 8. Newtown, Shandrum and Kildangan. Tipperary have the slither, 50-50 ball. Chasing. Jason Ford was doing his best to get away. He was being held. The referee has blown his whistle, has given a free to Tipperary.
Yeah, and Shane Barrett, you mentioned him there, Marty, what a score. He started so brightly. He did the same in the All-Ireland final last year. Jason Ford did really well there, got out in front of his man. But Tipper just suffering a little bit because Cork have the extra man back there. They're playing in very much 50-50 balls, and Cork coming out with most of them. But having said that, will Darren McCarthy take the free start or Jason Ford now? It looks like Darren McCarthy after the last day.
Darren McCarthy has a slither in his hand while his manager is looking on. Good management team with Michael Bevins, Declan Laffin and TJ Ryan, of course, part of the Tipperary backroom squad. It's Darren McCarthy that's going to take this break. He scored a goal and 33 points in the journey to Croke Park on this particular day, 25 frees. And when he departed the arena in the semi-final, Jason Ford produced the goods. That's over the bar.
Yeah, he's obviously out at wing forward now with the switches, just leaving the two men inside. And I see Andrew Orman gone in there, John McGrath gone out in the wing. I think he's just trying to inject a little bit more pace into that inside line with 2 against 3.
Patrick Collins going for distance. Tipperary should have the situation under control. Plenty of blue and gold there. One of them is Brian O'Mara from Holy Cross, Ballycahill. Gets away from the challenge. No hook, no block. But again, the slither's being sent wrong side of the post and wide. That's a lot of wides in the opening 11 minutes to Tipperary. 5 wides.
Yeah, it's working very well what they're doing, but Brian O'Mara should have flicked that over the top. Darren McCarthy was loose inside him, and you know, that's 3 or 4 pot shots. They're not on the Ireland final. They're going to need them all.
Declan Jolton over his shoulder, but it's a bit adventurous from there considering the wind that has developed. 3rd wide of the match for Cork. And again, Rhys Shelley is going short versus captain Ronan Maher. Then delivers it long. Breaking ball, nicely picked up. Darren McCarthy trying to float this in. Patrick Collins is doing the umpire's job, and the umpire looks like he's in agreement with him. Is he going for a Hawkeye? I think he's going for a Hawkeye. He is.
I think that might have been in, but they're not aiming for the right post. The wind is obviously clearly blown into this left corner here.
Thor O'Neill, let's see. Looks like it's inside the post. The beauty of technology. Good call by the umpire as well. 2nd point for Darren McCarthy. Sides are level for the 3rd time. 12 minutes gone in this first half.
The Tip will be delighted with this. This is what they would have wanted, to keep it as tight as possible, and their tactic working so well so far. Brian O'Mara a lot of ball.
Sean O'Donoghue's. The hurley is the clash of the Ash in Croke Park. There's a hurley broken. Tipperary chasing and pursuing. Coming away with it, sending the ball away. The pass goes astray. Referee has blown his whistle.
John McGrath gave a slap on Kieran Joyce's hand there. You'll see it was coming out, definitely a free out. Good spot by the ref.
Sean O'Donoghue just took an extra centimetre here. This is Kieran Joyce being fouled by John McGrath. Tickets were so difficult to get over the last couple of weeks, and the Tipperary crowd certainly, and Cork as well, but Tip really were finding it difficult to get tickets. And if you look around, Cork are dominating, I think, a little bit.
Marty, who are you telling? I was absolutely driven, demented with people looking for them, but some crowd from Cork managed to get them.
Patrick Collins going for distance. Dropping it inside that 40-metre line from Alan Connolly. Gone forward is Niall O'Leary. He's looking at the goalpost. He could score from here. And he floats it between the post and over the bar. Good score by the corner back from Castleline, who made his championship debut against Limerick back in 2019.
Yeah, super score to get up there. Great assist again there by Dermot Healy. Lovely hand pass after losing his hurl.
Cork forwards, interestingly now, after 13, almost 14 minutes, are pushing up on Rhys Shelley's puck out. So the McCarthy Morris man goes long. Jake Morris, who's really developed this season into a wonderful hurler. Almost 1 foot on the sideline in front of the Cusack stand, but the ball is wide. 6 wide of the match for Tipperary. And with the shooting going slightly awry, I think that perhaps Liam Cowell should tell his forwards at least stay a little bit deep, let them drop it in.
Exactly, or maybe take on your man there. You know, like, you have to give credit to Rob Downey. He stood up and stood tall, but bad wide again from Jake.
Tim O'Mahony scored 2 goals and a point in the semi-final. Coming out together is Patrick Horgan, laying it back for us, Dermot Healy, and Healy sends it over the bar for his 2nd point of the match.
And that's just a magic first touch by Patrick Horgan. Look at the little hand pass. That's teamwork, that's beautiful skill and a lovely score. And Healy with 2 and Barrett with 2 now in the half-hour line.
6 points to 4 in favour of the Rebels. Well held in and kept in. Willie Connors, Sam O'Farrell, John McGrath, Owen Downey with it. Owen Downey fouling. John McGrath getting his free, but a little bit frustrated and not being given the freedom as Owen Downey came in here.
Yeah, and John McGrath, you know, what a player over the years. He was sort of out of the team for a couple of years there, but back this year. 5 goals in the championship as well this year, and you know, he's a big threat. There's probably 50-55 minutes in him. You normally see Noel coming in from, so you expect. That's the ball, Marty, you spoke about a minute ago. Get it in front of him on the diagonal.
Captain St. Joseph's, Nina CBS, to their first Hartley Cup, beating Ardskull Reach of Limerick a few years ago. Now just 19 years of age, already an under-20 All-Ireland medalist. That's Darragh McCarthy. And that's his 3rd point of the game. 2 for frees, 1 for play. Collins again goes long. Tipperary trying to attack the ball. First coming forward is Craig Morgan. Darragh Fitzgibbon heading towards the 20-metre line. Puts it onto the left-hand side. Is it inside the post? It's good enough for the umpires. It's good enough for us. Good score.
Yeah, that was an unforced error coming out there, but look at the speed of Fitzgibbon. Sam O'Farrell was trying to follow him. He just turned on the afterburners and left him for dead.
Back to a 2-point game. Cork leading by 2. Declan Dalton has to help out his defence. Lays it back. As far as Robert Downey is getting on a lot of ball. Kieran Joyce controlling it eventually. Pumping it into the corner. But it's going to roll out over the sideline. Sideline ball for Tipperary. It's going to be taken by Michael Breen, who's, I think, apart from goals, has played in nearly every position for his county since he made his debut 10 years ago. And on that occasion against Limerick, he scored a goal after just being introduced. Tipperary come out with it. Liam Gordon gives the free. And considering the league, and I know Darragh McCarthy was sent off in the round robin, but let's be honest, 18 minutes, almost 18 minutes gone, Tipperary will be pleased to know.
They will, and Cork really high balls in there. Ronan Maher very comfortable under that high ball with Brian Hayes breaking it away. But look, Cork will be happy enough too. They're still leading by 2, and the game will open up.
Rhys Shelley, Fitzgibbon Cup winner with UL in 2023, deflected away on this occasion. Tipperary scooping it up. Oh, great vision. Ball inside, opportunity for John McGrath, and that is over the bar. It was the vision that created the opportunity. After that, it was left to John McGrath. But great understanding between the 31-year-old Jason Ford and the 30-year-old John McGrath.
Pure magic, beautiful. And the two of them forward as well, like, you know, they've been brilliant servants to Tip. They look like their best years were behind them, but the two of them have really come back to top form this year.
Patrick Collins goes long. A boot has been lost. And the boot belongs to Dermot Healy. Referee explaining to the players why he's given the free.
Pulled the hurl out of his hand deliberately, according to the ref, and Healy's movement is causing problems. Owen Connolly has gone to wing back in the reshuffle. He scored 2, and he's a big mobile man who's keeping Seamus Harnedy off the team. I know Seamus has been injured, but like, look down through that bench: Harnedy, Conor Lahan, Shane Kingston, and this man's got in ahead of them on form.
.37-year-old Patrick Horgan, lifting, striking and scoring. 2 frees, 2 points. And it is a 2-point game after 19.5 minutes. Rhys Shelley has changed the tactic going long. Oh, fabulous catch. Full marks to Jake Morris. Look at the vision again, this time by Sam O'Farrell. Opportunity. It's the fullback, Connolly! He went for it. He hasn't scored a goal in a championship, but that is as close as you could get. Great vision by O'Farrell. Owen Connolly went for it. Had the goalkeeper beaten, but just inches, scraping the paint off the post at Hill 16. Meanwhile, the ball is dropping down. And it's his number 6 that's doing the hard work at full-back, Ronan Maher. Fingertips of the Tipperary man. Comes back to Cork. Darragh Fitzgibbon from Charleville. Scored 14 points up to this match. Has already scored 1 in this All-Ireland final. Ronan Maher again. Sending it down the middle. First touch is vital. Shane Barrett latches onto it. Tries to be hooked. Is hooked. Have to do it again. Tipperary are chasing and harassing these Cork lads. They're giving it everything, but watch this. It's an absolute beauty. Huggy! Patrick Horgan with his 3rd point of the match. The Glen Rovers man, following in the footsteps of Christy Ring and the former Taoiseach Jack Lynch. Sheer utter class, Patrick Horgan.
Brilliant score. It's out again. The puckouts are coming hot and heavy.
And away come Tipperary, looking for a response. Past the 20-metre line. It's Willie Connors. Willie uses a short grip at the hurley, and he sends that over the bar. Good response. Very good response by Willie.
Absolutely, and Tip, a couple of unforced errors there. Ronan Maher had that ball, passed it out to Andrew Armand. He lost it straight over the bar. He can't afford to make a mistake, but it's on again.
Well won by Owen Connolly, doing his primary job, defending. Jake Morris laying it off. Back first ball, great block down. Full marks to Tim O'Mahony. Rob Downey. Sending it up towards Patrick Horgan. Tipperary defenders attacking the ball, doing what the old cornerbacks used to. Go in front of your man. Comes back out first, Darragh Fitzgibbon. Will it curl? The umpires give the nod of the head. It's his 2nd point of the match. Charleville in North Cork and around Doneraile would rejoice with a score like this. Quick puck out again from Rhys Shelley. Gives the ball away rather easily. That doesn't happen anytime to Brian O'Mara. Picked up by Darragh Fitzgibbon. Beautiful stick work. Look at the wrist work. Giving it back again for Dermot Healy. Healy looks at the 45-metre line. Uses a short grip and puts that over for his 3rd point of the game. He won an All-Ireland minor in 2021, an All-Ireland under 20 and 22, and if he gets a senior All-Ireland, he'd follow in the footsteps of the great Willie Moore, who is the only All-Ireland medalist back in Liscoo. Wonderful. 3 points on the trot from Dermot Healy.
Yeah, and there's 3 there from unforced errors by Tipperary. They're after losing possession on a few occasions. Great work by Cork. Darragh Fitzgibbon on young Sam O'Farrell in the middle of the field. He's getting an awful lot of ball and causing a lot of trouble.
Long puck out by Rhys Shelley. Grabbed superbly. Full marks to Kieran Joyce. Again, Tipperary having to work hard against the beautiful artistry being provided by players like Darragh Fitzgibbon. Patrick Horgan from the middle of the field under severe pressure. Will it go over? Yes, it will. Fabulous score. Jason Ford with his 2nd point of the game.
Yeah, there was an advantage given there. That's a brilliant strike, and you have to credit like Tipperary. They're working really, really hard, but they are giving up that possession. And as I say, Fitzgibbon, Healy, Barrett getting on a huge amount of ball.
Ball is pucked out down in the direction of Tim O'Mahony. Trying to get away from the shackles of his opponent, Conor Stapler. Brian Hayes getting his first touch, laying it off. The referee has blown a whistle, and he's given a free to Cork. Brian Hayes is looking to know why, as he thinks there was a better opportunity for Cork here.
Gave it there just, I suppose, a bit of a pullback. There wasn't a whole lot in it. It was close quarter stuff. But look at Tim O'Mahony when he got the ball. He was looking for a goal. He was trying to engineer that effort, and Cork really begin to get into their stride now.
Patrick Horgan made his debut for Cork against Tipperary in 2008, 17 years ago.
And interestingly, Marty, Cork have pushed up the field. They're not leaving anyone back. They're only playing with 5 backs, and they're going after the Tipperary lads. And that's why I think they've turned over 3 or 4 balls. It's working really well for them as well.
Brian O'Mara to Craig Morgan to Sam O'Farrell. Dropping it in. Breaking ball again is vital. Picked up by Niall O'Leary. Challenged by Darren McCarthy. Tim O'Mahony gets a touch. 50-50 ball. Down goes Dara Fitzgibbon. Gathered instead by Darren McCarthy. McCarthy from Toomey Barra. Breaking ball comes over this side. In comes Andrew Ormond. Ormond under severe pressure. Great work by Declan Dalton, who's the left half forward, not the left half back. The work rate by Cork is equally as impressive as what we've seen from Tipperary in the opening 25 minutes. Look at this for tenacity and determination by Declan Dalton.
Yeah, and Conor Statham, just a little bit silly there, came in over the top. But it is interesting. I think Cork are looking at their defence. They're saying, we have the pace back there. We don't need an extra cover, any extra cover back there. And they're trusting their men to go man for man, which is brave. It's all right till Tip get a goal, but they're dealing very well with the high balls, and Tip not winning the break.
Declan Dalton from around Ballymacoda and Ladies Bridge hits this. He has a powerful puck of a ball. Scored 1 goal and 12 points to this All-Ireland final. That's his first point today. Puck out again from Reece Shelley is a good one to Craig Morgan. Andrew Ormond is calling for it. It's duly delivered. In comes Mark Coleman. Again, the first touch has to be right. Mark Coleman is judged to have been fouling the centre half forward from Templemore. That's going to be a free for the Premier County. And there was just a little bit of a push there.
Little nudge. I think the ref had given an advantage, and he played it on when Ormond got the ball. I think Tip now would be looking. This is a big free for Darren McCarthy, not an easy one, and they just want to settle things down again. They're 5 down.
He was only 17 in 2022. He was a sub in every game as Tipperary won the minor All-Ireland against Offaly. And look at how he is now playing in the starting 15 for Tipperary. You can do it if you can persevere and believe in yourself. And for Darren McCarthy, that's his 4th point of the match.
And that's a huge one. The crowd are getting onto him, but that's his preamble. He's a very, very unique way. He stops when you think he's going to take it, throws up the piece of grass, and the Cork crowd are giving him plenty of stick, but he's well able for it.
4 points between the teams. 3 times they've been level. Cork go in pursuit of more scores, batted away on this occasion. Little flick on, great understanding, I must say, between Tipperary. And away goes Sam O'Farrell. Took a little bit too much out of it, but the referee is giving the advantage. In comes Jake Morris, makes an angle and flicks this between the post and over the bar for a 2nd point of the game. And Nina Aero special, a cocktail between the two Nina boys.
Yeah, brilliant work by Sam O'Farrell. But Niall O'Leary took the short puck out and ballooned the ball up in the air. Terrible delivery. Sam O'Farrell, that's his first real impact in the game. He'd be delighted with that.
3 points again between the teams. Ball bobbling around the place, but Cork have it. Under pressure, hits it high and hits it between the post and over the bar. Alan Connolly scored 4 goals on the journey to Croke Park. 3-2 against Dublin, you will recall. Gets his first real opportunity here today, and he takes it.
Yeah, his first touch, I think, that I can remember. Michael Breen doing a very tight marking job on him, but nice score.
Sam O'Farrell laying it off. Great work by Robert Doyle. Clanouty Rossmore. You can play him anywhere. Not alone a defender, but an attacker. His first point in the All-Ireland final, and it's a memorable one. Beautiful score. And Tipwin, the high dropping ball. Willie Connors again, spraying it wide. Perhaps hit this a little bit too hard. Jake Morris having to do all the hard work. Parker there with Sean O'Donoghue. Puts it into the centre towards Robert Downey, the captain, driving it into the space. Big man, big hands, big player. Brian Hayes turning, shooting, and sending that over the bar. Lovely, beautiful score by Cork. And Brian Hayes, all of 6'2", 24 years of age, puts that between the posts.
Yeah, you can have all the spearmen back you want when you get a ball like that. What a ball by Downey, what a take by Hayes, and that's the score of the game so far.
Rhys Shelley. Tipperary deciding to play that one-man full forward line with a lot of the ball being sent in wide. Loose ball again, this time it's John McGrath. Getting it back outside. Oh, lovely skill again by Willie Connors. He's going for it, but it's gone left and wide. It remains 15 points for Cork, 11 points for Tipperary. Ball into the space for Shane Barrett. Again confronted by Craig Morgan. Barrett going for the score. Cork crowd love it in Kazakhstan and in Davenant, and he gets his third point of the game. When he gets the ball, I have to say, Michael, he's really posing problems for Tipperary, isn't he?
Oh, he's lethal. And Craig Morgan's very, very pacey player, but Barrett, his movement off the ball there. But that's Robert Downey again. He's been left loose on the ball. His deliveries are brilliant, and he's causing Tipperary an awful lot of trouble. They need to put someone on him, whoever they leave loose after that.
Good work by Michael Breen. You can see he's a good sidestep. That's why he played in the forwards previously. Ball is just touched on beautifully by Jake Morris. There's Jason Ford. Great blocking, great defending. Cork. Mark Coleman sending it into the space again, towards Alan Connolly. Gathers it. Twisting, turning, laying it back. Calling for it is Robert Downey. He changes direction. He sends it over towards Brian Hayes, but it's half blocked to Tipperary. Have the ball once more. Bursting out of the Tipperary defence, sending it straight down the middle. One man up. That happens to be John McGrath. First touch is good. Owen Downey trying to confront him. Referee, I think, has blown his whistle, and the ball is hit in. It's hit wide, but the referee, Liam Gordon, has blown his whistle, and I think he's going to show a yellow card here as well.
Just persistent fouling. That's
persistent fouling, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Marty.
But since Liam Cahill changed the tactics and the ball is going in to the full forward line, in towards John McGrath, it just seems that Tipperary getting a little bit more out of it.
I agree with you, Marty. Look, John McGrath's movement again, they're very, very good. And Tipper just hanging in there at the minute. Cork really up in the pace. They have huge athleticism all over the field. But look, this will bring it back to 4. And, you know, it's at the start of the game, I said Tipper said at half-time, be within 3 or 4 or 5 points. No goals on the clock. But Cork are showing their versatility. They can score from out the field. They have that movement as well.
And Darren McCarthy with his own unique style. But if it works for him, that's fine. It's his 5th point of the game. 4 of them from frees. It's a 4-point game on 32 minutes. Cork 16 points, Tipperary 12. But this was beautiful stick work by John McGrath, but fouled by Owen Downey. And that could well be a factor before the 70 minutes plus is registered. Craig Morgan trying to burst out of the Tipperary defence, wins himself a free. The foul was produced by Alan Connolly, holding on to him. Morgan bursting, being held back by Alan Connolly momentarily. Liam Gordon telling Owen Connolly to go back. Going to take this free just inside the Tipperary 45-metre line. Liam Cahill must be reasonably pleased. 33 minutes, no goals conceded, and very much still in contention. 16 points to 12. Owen Connolly. Dropping it in, dropping it in! It's in the net! Was it Jason Ford?
He's giving a free out.
The referee, however, is giving a free out to Cork for a square ball. With 82,300, you couldn't hear the referee's whistle. The ball dropped in. Tipperary rejoiced, only to be that emotion to be turned around in seconds by the referee saying it was a square ball.
Yeah, we look at it here. He was in the square before the ball. What a brilliant touch. The referee called it very, very quickly. If you look at it there, marginal as they always are, and I'm sure the lads will have a good look at it at half-time.
It looked initially like it was a square ball, but we'd have to review it. Meanwhile, it's Dermot Healy giving the ball in towards Brian Hayes. Lovely stick work, great defending. Back out there is Declan Dalton. Dalton flicking it, and this time sending it wide.
That's unbelievable. Sorry, Maher, that's great defending. Ronan Maher is having some game here. I know Brian Hayes has been brilliant this year, but Maher, what a servant for Tipperary hurling. But he stood him up there, he took the ball off, and brilliant, clean defending.
40 seconds to go in this opening half, and I'm sure there'll be time added on. Great catch by Owen Downey, and Cork coming out with it. Tipperary hooking, blocking, getting the hurley in. Ball into the space, but there's nobody there. Brian O'Mara going long. Patrick Collins comes off his goal line. Sends it over for Niall O'Leary. 2 minutes of additional time, I believe, is going to be added on. Good play at Tipperary, I was about to say, but Alan Connolly intercepted it. No free given. Free is actually given out for throwing the slipper. Now listen to the 82,300. Cork are furious. Tip are absolutely delighted. It's an emotional spectrum in Croke Park.
But that's straight into the back, Marty. Like, that's a free in all day long. Watch it into his back. He avoided it, actually. Connolly swung out of the way to draw the free.
Jake Morris, meanwhile, sends this in, but the referee is going to acknowledge the umpire's decision. The ball is wide. Not for the first time. Jake is a little bit unlucky with his shooting. It remains Cork 16 points, Tipperary 12. Mark Coleman. Patrick Horgan, beaten this time by Michael Breen. Nice turn. It's Tipperary. Shoot from way out the field. Is it on target? It's a brilliant score. Darragh McCarthy with his second point from play. 6 points overall. And as they will be heading to the dressing rooms very shortly, right now it's only 3 points between them.
That's some
score.
That is some score again. And look, you can't take your eye off this for a second. Here's Tim O'Mahony.
Tim O'Mahony, straight from Patrick Collins' puck out, has a go, but the ball has gone to the right and wide. That's Cork's fifth wide of the game. In terms of wides for Tipperary, they've had 9. 3 points between them. Play continues on. Coming forward was Owen Connolly, but it's Robert Downey that comes away with it. Little flick on, beautiful hurling, and it's that man again. Shane Barry's going for it. Brilliant goal. An absolute beauty. Unstoppable. Barrett, the whiz kick from Blarney, rattles the back of the Tipperary net at a crucial moment in the game. 2 minutes and 13 seconds into injury time, and Cork get the first goal of the game.
Yeah, great play. Robert Downey, first of all. Ronan Maher won the ball. John McGrath was looking for it long. He chose to go short to Darragh McCarthy, overturned by Downey. He played a 1-2 with Mark Coleman, who flicked a lovely ball into Barrett. And what a goal. This man has been on fire in the first half. You mentioned him in the commentary, Marty. And I make that 1-3, 1-4 that Tip have turned over themselves. Ball they've had that they didn't go along with the lost possession. And that's a huge play just in the stroke of half-time. It could be a massive game changer.
But it has been obvious that Shane Barrett was causing Tipperary problems, right? From every time he touched the ball, got 3 points in play.
He was, but that's what happens in broken play. They're so dangerous when you turn over that ball. Rob Downey scored a goal from there last year himself, and he won the ball and went to full length. Half-time.
The referee blows the half-time whistle. There was a bit of afters, as you saw. But Cork and Tipperary want to go in at different times, but there's, as you can see in the tunnel, passions are aroused. Despite the best officials trying to ensure that they come in at different moments, they're coming in together. There's a bit of turmoil, but the security there are doing a great job, led by a Tipperary man, as it turns out, Robert. So good work, everything is now calmed down. 3 times they've been levelled in the first half. But at half-time, Shane Barrett has scored a goal and 3 points, and that's the difference between the teams at GA headquarters. Half-time in All-Ireland Senior Hurling Final Day. Cork, 1 goal and 16 points. Tipperary, 13 points.
He was in the running for hurler here last year, but he's been a bit quieter this year, right up until Shane Barrett exploded into life in the opening half of the All-Ireland final, and it is his being on form that has Cork on top of the break. They lead by 6 points, 116-13, and it was really that late burst there that did so much of the damage, Donald.
Yeah, a lot of the game was nipped from tuck from that. It was really set up in terms of Tip have decided that they're going to not give Cork space on the other side, but then there's the trade-off. It's really hard to keep stopping a team like Cork not being able to work the ball. I would say at the start of the game, Cork were that bit off. Tip turned them over, but over the game, over the development of it, you're going to get chances like that. It's so hard on your attackers. Cork have pushed up, interestingly, then on those puckouts, and that last score, I know it obviously is a goal. It's going to be critical.
Let's have a look at it then.
In the first half, but it's so important from a Cork point of view. So again, here we'll see it, like Tip are trying to, at times when they've got that space, when you're looking at the Cork defence, it's 5v5. Downey's been really good in possession, calm, never pushed. Excellent ball from Coleman. I'll tell you this, you can see Tip have more defenders there. Fair play to Barrett for going for that, because the game is nip and tuck enough. Like Cork's shooting efficiency has been way better, 77% versus 52% from a Tipperary point of view, and Tip have hit more wides, but that was not an easy finish. So Cork will be really, and that's the way forward for Cork. They have to keep their composure if Tip are going to keep giving them more bodies on the other side of the field.
And significantly, Joanne, it seemed as if the 3 or 4 moments coming up to that were all about Tip and back to 3 points, and everything began to suit them. And he's right on low, because you have to remain patient, and then when the chance comes, Barrett knew the chance was on, took it on in the few steps and buried low to the far corner.
But not everything was suiting Tipperary, because they felt they should have had a go when Jason Ford was ruled to fit into square.
Absolutely, Joanne, and a huge moment again. I felt it was too far for Owen Connolly. I was probably right on that. Now, this is very inconclusive. I don't see, there's the ball. Is he inside before the ball? Michael said he was in commentary. He probably is. How the hell does he play it? The umpire makes no signal whatsoever, and Liam decides from out where he is. You see on the football arc that shouldn't be there, but he decides out there that that's in the square. So I find it very hard to call it.
Well, is it possible that he gets the signal that
it must be the umpires? The umpires have to call it.
Do a thing though.
The umpires must call it. Like from a Patrick Collins point of view and a Sean O'Donoghue, they're not going to be happy with that. It's amazing over time. It's like an industrial.
Anyway.
It's an industrial issue between goalkeepers and fullbacks. That ball should be suiting the defenders, but it must be the umpires are calling it from that stage.
And it was a marginal call, and often when you see the situation, I mean, it was one that Cork should have defended. Sometimes the marginal call can go your way. It's very, very hard to know whether it was or it wasn't, but Tipperary will feel aggrieved because, you know, Jason, it was a wonderful finish, but whether it was or wasn't, it's very hard to know even from watching in the replay.
We understandably made a big deal about how Tipperary were going to keep this full forward line of Corks under control in this game. Every time Brian Hayes got near the sliotar, he seemed to be swarmed. But then, did that allow other players come into the game as a result?
Yeah, well, I think the Tip backline have got an awful lot right in that first half. I mean, you'd be massively proud of some of their defending. But like this Cork team, this Cork forward line is very, very good. And Shane Barrett, you know, he's a guy that probably, you know, I think he had 2.14 coming into the All-Ireland final last year, hasn't found the same heights. And you're always worried about a player like that coming into an All-Ireland final. And I think he's lived up to that billing today. He's been very, very good. But like Tip have really gone toe-to-toe. And, you know, Dara Fitzgibbon, I think Dara Fitzgibbon, Diarmuid Healy and Shane Barrett are probably the 3 that Tip haven't managed to tie down. They've done an awful lot right. But again, Diarmuid Healy, it's just his pace. I mean, you know, you think he had a bit of fumble there, but he just puts on the burners, drives forward, and all of a sudden he's in space. So, like, some of those scores have been very, very good. And, like, they're very, very... I thought at times, like, Brian O'Mara really was disruptive to how Cork wanted to get their hands on the ball, and done very, very well. But at times, Cork have managed to counteract that, and when they did, it looked very good. But there was times when Niall O'Leary was coming through, blazing down ball, and Tipper an advantage. But I think we've seen moments of when Cork do find flow in that outside forward line, because their inside forward line has been well shackled. It's tough to manage.
Okay, it is tough to manage. Tipperary are still in there. 6 is certainly not an insurmountable lead. We're going to get a slightly different view when we come back just before the second half.
And you're welcome back. We're here at Pitchside Live with Brendan and Henry. Cork are 6 points up. They're 35 minutes away from a first All-Ireland title in 20 years. And supporters everywhere, including Donald Holland from Ballyroe, they'll be absolutely delighted. Brendan, what are Cork doing right in that half? They faced into the wind now.
Well, I think they were doing an awful lot, I suppose, wrong in a lot of ways, in that they were hitting the ball long. Brian O'Mara's been sitting back on the edge of the D. Normally you see a guy sitting between the 45 and 65, but he's been sitting right back. The other end of the field, unusually, they don't have anyone sitting. They're pressing on Tipperary. They just got that break in the finish, and Barrett got through for that goal. Up on the lane, Tipperary's plan was working really well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think the goal, like, just that's the danger with Cork. That bust of pace, that explosiveness of Barrett for those 3 steps. It got him closer to the goal back in the net. But Tip, to be fair, had stifled him, had Cork wondering a little bit. They were a little bit tentative, a little bit nervous. I'm just afraid now that goal was going to give them momentum to Cork.
Do you think Tipperary can fight back from this now, or are they on the ropes now?
No, I wouldn't say on the ropes. They get time, actually. They go in a lot of ways. I know it's a killer before half-time, but Liam Cahill has him aside there for 15 minutes now to steady up. He knows there's a bit of a breeze. The breeze is blowing down into the Davin end there. It's not a 7 or 8 point breeze, but it'll certainly help the Tipperary backs to deliver the ball longer and force Cork to play out.
But I think the great conundrum is he had 7 defenders in the first half. Can you win the All-Ireland with 7 defenders in the second half? I don't think you can, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on in the Tip dressing room for half-time.
All right, Henry, Brendan, thank you so much for your time. Back to you, Joanne.
And that is the big question, isn't it? So you want to just pick up on the point that they made, because that was one of the key, until we saw that very end with that Barrett goal and the square ball. That was the key of that opening half, the Brian O'Mara positioning.
Yeah, because I mean, we spoke before the match about the space in the 10 box, and Tip have made a decision to say they're not going to leave that pocket open. Brian read it, done really well. And again, like, watch across, he's got men across him, and he goes long and he goes for the point, and you'll see the angst on Liam Cahill's face. So when you do go that way, you've got to make sure you use the ball well. And I think Tip have had 9 wides. They need to make sure they're smarter on the ball.
Yeah, we kind of disagreed about that at half-time when Liam spoke about Tip going for toe-to-toe. Tip have gone all-out sweeper. Brian O'Mara sitting there as much as possible. What was talked about Dublin not done. Now, when you do that, like we said, you're trading off here in the middle of the field, so you're putting fierce pressure on your other players to deal with all of those runners. And then on the other side of the field, what you're dependent, and you can see what Liam Cahill was so frustrated over there. He was roaring, you must work that ball through the line. You're not going to score in Croke Park from that distance with a swirling wind. It'll be really interesting to see if Tip keep that structured approach in the second half, because
Henry
it's hard to see how they'll finish out that
He
way.
asked the question, didn't he?
Yeah,
Can you win an All-Ireland with 7 defenders?
Traditional final, Joanne, untraditional approach, +1 back there. He has played well, Brian has. One thing I would say though is, you can't mark pace. You can't mark pace. One-on-one, Dudsey, Barrett. Fairness to Willie Connors, he's done a fair job on keeping Declan Dalton fairly quiet. Ronan has been outstanding on Hayes. Hayes still got a point from play, won a free. There's been little suggestions. I would say the goal is the killer score though, but that's the pace. It's very hard to mark.
But equally, I suppose the 116-13 probably makes you talk about the outcome. And the reality is, if Owen Connolly had to net that goal and Jason Ford's goal had to stand, we'd be sitting here at 2-13 to 16 points, and you'd be saying this is a masterclass by Liam Cahill. The trade-off is, yes, I agree, you're down a man up front, but we will create goal chances, and we have stifled the inside forward line.
Can you win it with the 7 defenders, or do you need to change?
Well, I think we can flux up and down, so I don't think we'll be all out 7 for all the time.
Shove up now, Liam, surely. 6 points
they'll
down.
Definitely shove up.
Let's find out what they do. We go back to Michael and to Marty.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Out of that 116 that Cork scored in the first half, 1 goal and 12 points come from play, which is quite an impressive statistic. So Pat Ryan deciding obviously to start the same team. And we're just confirming that Willie Connors and Declan Dalton both got yellow cards there by the referee, just confirming that information from the sideline. Cork are a half an hour and plus 35 minutes from that All-Ireland title, but Tipperary also have 35 minutes. They're down a little bit after that goal, that sensational goal by Shane Barrett, deep into injury time. So now, that's just confirmation on our your TV screen, Declan Dalton and Willie Connors. This is for the incident down the tunnel that you've just captured on our cameras, and just Willie getting a yellow card as well. So now, everything to play for. The climax of the championship of 2025 is going to happen before your eyes and ears right now. The very first All-Ireland final between Cork and Tipperary. Patrick Horgan scored 4 points. One of them was an absolute beauty, in case you missed it. First free of the second half is going to the wrong side of the post. As we're going to Hawkeye. Yes, we are. The body language said it all. There was uncertainty amongst the umpires.
I think Patrick Horgan's body language would tell you it was wide, I'd say, but maybe I'm wrong.
Let's see. It's close enough, but it is a kneel. Ball is wide.
And that's a let-off, because I think, Marty, the big thing here is if Cork can stay 6-7 points up, Tip are going to have to change tactics and push forward, which will give Cork more room. And the Tip starting forward line have only scored 6 points from play. That's not going to win you an Ireland final, so they're just trying to stay in it as long as they can.
Ball is loose. Jake Morris did all the hard work, but he wasn't fouled. Tipperary on the attack. In front of the Cusack stand. Will it go inside the post? Absolutely. Good score. Taking off the stick of Dara Connors. Jacob scored 3 points against Kilkenny. He was powerful against Kilkenny in the All-Ireland semi-final. But then, as we mentioned at the beginning in our introduction, it's in the DNA.
Yeah, and his father Connor as well won a 21 Ireland against us back in '89. Great score. He's been really trying to mark Tim O'Mahony, who hasn't been on the ball that much, and he'll be delighted to get that score.
Ball is sent along the ground towards Andrew Ormond. Surely he's being fouled. The referee has blown his whistle. The advantage is up. I think he's going to give the free anyway. Or is he? No. Good refereeing by Liam Gordon. Great work by Andrew Ormond. 2 goals and 13 points on the way to Croke Park. He really has been sensational. 2-1 against Clare. This is his first point in the All-Ireland final. But boy, did he have to work for it. Great score.
Yeah, that's a great start to the second half by Tip. And the Cork went short there, lost a lot of long puckouts in the first half, but this worked for them.
Ball sent in. Good ball as well by Dermot Healy. Latching onto it is Patrick Horgan. Tipperary are there in numbers, including Brian O'Mara. That's going to be a free for the Premier County. He picked up an injury in the process. Pulled down here by Alan Connolly.
Yeah, and Ron O'Mara shown all his experience there. You know, he blocked off the passage. Brian Hayes was trying to get back in the ball. He just hooshed him out. And Brian O'Mara comes back, and you know, he's working really well. They're trying to force Cork to go long. They're going to try to go short and work the extra man with the puck out, so it's going to be intriguing stuff.
Rhys Shelley beaten in the first half by an absolute rasper of a shot. Patrick Collins stepping out of his large rectangle. His goalkeeper coming out here. Seemed to be touched there by John McGrath, which obviously was not allowed. And this is a free for the Cork keeper. Dropping down on the 45-metre line. Dermot Healy not quite picking it up first time. Playing it short. Andrew Ormond back to Jake Morris. Just took his eye off it. Opposite number 10 is Dermot Healy. He really had a great first half with 3 wonderful points. This one is going to drop a little bit short. Rhys Shelley sends it down the middle. Brian O'Mara has recovered from the injury picked up a moment ago. Slither glowing to hand every time. Good work by Sam O'Farrell. captaining Tip Miners, captaining the under-20s that won both All-Irelands, laying it off and sending a ball straight between the post and over the bar. That's a sweet score, beautifully created by Sam O'Farrell and company and finished by Andrew Ormond.
And brilliant awareness there by Sam O'Farrell. He knew he didn't have the pace to get away from Mark Coleman and laid it off. We saw him doing it to Jake Morris in the first half. Very intelligent hurler is Sam O'Farrell.
That's 3 points without reply from Tipperary. They've started the second half well, Michael.
They have, and here's Barrett though again. That's wide.
Comes back up the post. Good work by Robert Doyle. Reshelling. That's what you want your corner back to do.
He was on the ball there because I called it prematurely. I thought it was gone well wide. The wind obviously forcing it back in. This is one of the wides they had in the first half. That's Sam. I'm just after praising him there, but that was a bad wide.
Dad Paul played with the Pershing, and I think he was first in the club to play with Limerick in the 1990s. Paul O'Farrell. Craig Morgan into the centre towards Andrew Ormond. Still Andrew Ormond laying it off towards John McGrath. Taken down. Referee Cork come away with it. The referee allowing a lot of action there. Nice ball inside. Tipperary thinking about perhaps a little bit more than just a point. He's going for this. No, he takes his point. There was just a flicker of a moment when Darren McCarthy thought about creating at least another pass and perhaps finishing to the back of Patrick Collins' net. But listen to the Tipperary roar now.
And Martin, this is some start to the second half, but John McGrath, you know, the ultimate goal scorer, he sniffed the half chance, but McCarthy was dead right. Keep the scoreboard ticking over. He scored 3 from play. There was doubts about whether he'd start today after being taken off the last day. What a game he's having.
Just remember, it was 116 to 13 points at the break. Tipperary have now scored 4 points without reply. Slightly worrying time for the Rebels. Beautiful stick work. Darragh McCarthy heading towards goal. 20 knocked away. Oh, well done, Niall O'Leary. Great cornerback play. Picked up by Rob Downey. Laid off first Tim O'Mahony. Pumped into the space in front of the Cusack stand. Tipperary come away with it once more. Good anticipation. They're looking around. Tipperary man hits the sliotar. The other ducks out of the way. Is it on target? Absolutely not. Ball is wide. 11 wide of the match for Tipperary as Conor Stakelum had a go. Patrick Collins sends it down and well anticipated by Jake Morris. This is a great period of dominance for Tipperary. Surely that is a fray. As Morris was being pulled down almost, and the referee has blown his whistle and given a free in. Poor puck out for once by Patrick Collins. Clear holding here by Robert Downey. The brother is already on a yellow card. Liam Gordon, will he show a yellow here to the Cork captain? He wants him to come across. And I think he is going to be shown a yellow card. Yes, he is. The Downey brothers are both now on yellows.
Yeah, he fouled Andrew Ormond after half-time, maybe got away with another one. Just before that, Conor Stakelum hit another long-range wide for Tip. They have to cut that out. They're well on top of the game. Cork now, they need leaders. We talked about Dermot Healy, Shane Barrett before half-time. I'd be very surprised if we don't see Harnedy very, very soon. They've had no impact in the half or in the second half so far.
Darragh McCarthy, 7 points to his credit. Make that 8. 6 in the first, 2 in the second. And look at the scoreboard now. 116 Cork, 18 points Tipperary. And it's Seamus Harnedy that's coming on. His services are required, as Declan Dolson is the one that's making way. Harnedy was injured, 31 years of age, 3 times an All-Star in 2013, 18 and 24. And Pat Ryan wants him on the field of play. What a game and what an atmosphere in Croke Park. The tension is palpable. Picked up by Conor Stakelum. I'm not too sure where Cork are gone, but they're not on the pitch at the moment as Tipperary have taken control. 6 points down on the break. Jake Morris, coolness personified, looks up and then with the sat-nav on, sends it over towards Darragh McCarthy. Well blocked, good defending Cork. Full marks to, once again, Niall O'Leary. McCarthy on the turn. Is that going to go over? Surely not. Just outside. Wasn't that far away. If Tipperary level this match, having been down by 6 points at the break, the roar will be heard in Boston, Sydney, Melbourne and Perth. Took out this time as a short one. Playing it down the wing. 50-50 ball again. Last man touching it was Brian Hayes. Sideline ball, Tipperary.
Yeah, they're going to need him more in the game, but Ronan Maher is doing some man-marking job, Marty. We skipped over the catch there from Ronan Maher a few minutes ago. He's the captain of his team. He's produced outstanding displays in All-Ireland finals before, and he's doing it again today.
Ronan Maher, All-Star 2016-2019. Cork get the sideline ball. Darragh Fitzgibbon scored twice in the first half. There's a bit of frustration creeping in. The ball comes back up the post again. That's really pulsating and very worrying from a Cork point of view, because they're just finding it hard to get their mojo in the second half. Again, Tipperary spread it wide. Much better hands, Jake Morris. Showing great maturity. 45 metres out. This is dropping in. And Patrick Collins had to come out for it. He puts nobody on the goal line. Picked up John McGrath. Gets his 6th goal of the championship. And Tipperary are gone wild. Listen to the roar. Cork were up by 6 points at the break. Now look at the scoreline. 10 minutes into the second half. Tipperary 1 goal and 18 points. Cork 1 goal and 16. And John McGrath from Lockmore Castleinry. He was coolness personified. He is so cool to gather the sliotar to make sure they hit the back of the net.
He was the man you wanted, Marty, but the litany of errors off the post, off the crossbar there. Collins missed it.
And here comes Shane Barrett again. When class is needed, Barrett steps up. A goal and 3 points in the first half, and a point now in the second half.
Yeah, and that's their first score in the second half. But go back to John McGrath. If there was any player in Ireland you wanted in that position, it was John McGrath. Most lads would have pulled on it, maybe got blocked. He was cool, as you say. He was absolutely ice cool, and lovely finish by him. What a second half by Tip, and what has happened, Cork? They were so dominant. I said to you at half-time, Marty, off camera, Cork could pull away now with the way they dominated the last 5 minutes before half-time. So you have to give huge credit to Cork, or to Tip, but Cork have lots of time now to regroup with 25 to go.
Just thinking about John McGrath, he'll be 31 years of age in 8 days' time and scores a goal in the All-Ireland final. Wonderful. I remember him scoring 3-2 in the Munster final against Waterford a number of years ago, going for his 3rd All-Ireland medal. Meanwhile, you can see that there's changes happening in Tipperary now. That looks like Seamus Kennedy coming in.
It is Seamus Kennedy, and he wasn't brought in the semi-final. Maybe it was a niggle or something, but his experience, this is part of a plan. They will have planned this. It's 47 minutes gone. Noel McGrath will be coming as well, probably in the next 10 minutes.
Referee Liam is going to show a yellow card to Robert Doyle and Alan Connolly. Liam Gordon there, showing yellow card. Seamus Kennedy, dual star with Tipperary in the past, is now introduced, and there's a bit of tension. There's a bit of fight coming into the game in every sense of the word. And Tipperary have it once more. Cork are gone to sleep, and Tipperary are on a roll. If they put this over the bar, they don't. That is their 13th wide of the match. Robert Doyle.
Andrew Ormond was right beside him. If you see a replay of it, he should have just slipped the ball to him. Bad mistake by Robert Doyle.
He did score in the first half, though, Michael. He might be forgiven. Shane Barrett, nice ball inside. Seamus Harnedy has a go from out the field, but again, it's to the right and left of the goalpost and wide.
Wouldn't expect that from him. Obviously, hasn't played for a while, a bit of rustiness. That was an easy chance. There's a huge tension here now. You can see it with the wides, with the balls hitting posts, with crossbars. You know, this is not the best by any means that Cork can play. Tipperary really have put it up to them now, and they've really put the pressure on them.
Feeling in Lockmore Castleinry last night was that if Tipperary could be in the game with 10 minutes to go, they'd rattle the All-Ireland title and rattle the Cork cage. And I have to say, that's what they're doing it now. Between the 45 and 65. It's a sweet strike of the sliotar. I can hardly hear myself, but you have to give credit to Tipperary, as the Cork cage is rattled.
That was Willie Connors.
Passing is going astray.
Yeah, Willie Connors with the interception. John McGrath had chased out after Niall O'Leary and stuck it over the bar. 1-6 to a point now for Tip since half-time.
Tipperary 119, Cork 117. Just managing 1 point so far in the second half. Shamie Barrett giving it back. Where's Dara Fitzgibbon? Much better ball towards Brian Hayes. Has to work hard for it. Didn't control it the first time. On the 45-metre line. He bounces into the ground, but you know that the ball is not sailing where he wanted it to be. And worried faces in the Cork crowd. 49.5 minutes. It's Tipperary that's in front. And Tipperary are going to introduce another player. That's Seamus Kennedy that's now coming on, and it looks like Brian O'Mara is coming on.
Yeah, he got a knock. He's been playing absolutely brilliantly, but he got a knock, and it's after he's going to be a loss now with the way he's been playing.
Rhys Shelley goes for distance again. Cork have it, but they should have it. Tim O'Mahony. Diagonal ball didn't come off at all. First touch by Tipperary is poor. Race for possession, and away comes Michael Breen from Ballina on the border of Clare and Tipperary. I don't think he looked where he was driving it. He was just driving it, and that's going to be a fray. Look at the determination. 31 years of age this month. Scored a point against Waterford. I think he was going for a point there. Being pursued by another elder lemon in Patrick Horgan.
Yeah, and Marty, want to tackle it quickly? No, the one won't allow it.
Cork bench being told there are too many encroachments onto the field, and the referee hasn't blown his whistle at all. Yellow card for the Mayor Ishka, and the fourth official, I think, was telling Pat Ryan and his management team that there's too many encroachments onto the pitch from the referee's perspective. There you can see the chat. .5 minutes to go. Cork All-Ireland finalists 2021. Cork All-Ireland finalists 2024. This would be real heartbreak if they don't pull this off. 2 points between them. Slipper is flying through the air, and the slipper is flying between the posts. Darren McCarthy, for a 19-year-old, maturity beyond his years. It's now a 3-point game in favour of the Premier County.
And he's learned so much in the semi-final, and some of the disappointments during the year. What a display he's given.
Long puck out from Patrick Collins, picked up this time by Dara Fitzgibbon. Shamie Harnedy is behind him, but Dara Fitzgibbon heads past the 13-metre line, crossing it into the centre. There's nobody there, plenty of blue and gold jerseys. Good work by Owen Connolly. Fine hurler, this lad. The battle of the Connollys. Changes the hurley in mid-stride. Loses the slither. Through to pressure. In come the Tipperary reinforcements. In there as well as Shane Barrett and Alan Connolly. In comes Tim O'Mahony. Bursting away is Willie Connors. Willie gives it back. And Tipperary have the composure to drive it into the space. John McGrath is chasing after it. Little push in the back. Grabbed by John McGrath. Bearing down a goal, and surely is that a penalty? It is! John McGrath is causing Cork unbelievable headaches. Against last year's All-Star fullback, there was a little push by McGrath beforehand. The referee didn't spot it.
He's on the yellow, Marty. He's on the yellow. He's gone, I'd say. There was a little push in the back, but he's pulled him down. He got a yellow in the first half. This is going to be a red card.
A yellow card, second yellow for Owen Downey. And Cork are down to 14 players in the 53rd minute. The drama of an All-Ireland hurling final, whether you're in Australia, New York, Boston, Bantry or wherever, you've got to just love the game of hurling. It gives us so many storylines. This is another crucial moment in the story of Cork-Tipperary battles. The first ever All-Ireland final between the two Munster counties. Cork are down to 14 players, 17 minutes still to go. And let's be honest, I know I've used the phrase, but the Cork cage has been rattled by Tipperary.
It has. They came out in the second half, maybe thought they'd enough done at half-time. You know, you've never enough done at half-time. Maybe the scars of last year tell them, but here's Darren McCarthy. This is massive.
Darren McCarthy facing Patrick Collins. Toomey Barra against Ballinhassig. He's going for it. Brilliant goal. Fantastic. High five, Darren McCarthy. And the people of Tipperary are beginning to cry. Cry with joy with 16 minutes to go. A rocket past Collins. Brilliantly scored by Darren McCarthy.
That
The
is
man
some
who was
finish.
sent off in the round robin has now scored a goal and 9 points in the All-Ireland final.
And sent off the last day as well, Marty. And look at Ronan Maher, what a catch again. What a game this man is having.
Down towards the man up front that created the penalty. Giving it back, football-wise. Far as Niall O'Leary. Can Cork get themselves out of trouble? Tipperary are now dominating the half-back line. They're causing problems up front. Good work by Sam O'Farrell. Laying it back. Cork under pressure, Alan Connolly. But Tipperary have the slither. 50-50 ball. Runs kindly. Good work by Darren McCarthy. Dara between the 45 and 65. The under-20 All-Ireland medalist from Tumivara has made his scoreline, personal scoreline of a goal and 10 points. Remarkable. Fantastic from a Tipperary perspective. But my word, what has happened to Cork in this second half?
It's unbelievable, but Tip have stood up all over the field. It's been manly, it's been brave. They got their tactics dead on. It's not over yet. We've seen a lot of things happen in games. They're still, with injury time, they got to 20 minutes to go. But this has been some second half. Is it 2-7 to a point since half time to Tipperary? This has just been, they've just taken over the game. Incredible. Cork with 1 point since half time. That came from Shane Barrett. And the rest of their forwards, totally anonymous. Brilliant man-marking job going on. Mikey Breen and Patrick Horgan, Ronan Maher and Brian Hayes, Robert Doyle and Alan Connolly. They've just taken them man for man, and they've gone man for man the second half. There's no sweeper out there now, and it's worked for Tipperary.
Amazing. Tipperary scoreline at half-time was 13 points to 116. Tipperary have scored 2 goals and 7 points in the second half. And Cork have only managed, in this second period, 1 point. 2 goals and 8 points. 2 goals and 8 points for Tipperary in this second half. 1 point for Cork. Remarkable. Cork have not scored in the last 10 minutes. And Tipperary are beginning to dominate every section. The hottest of favourites, league champions, Munster champions. They beat this team not once but twice. Look at what's happening. She can hardly believe it. We can hardly believe it.
That is some skill by Mikey Breen, and just watch the way he took the tackle then. He's having some game on Patrick Horgan. You mentioned him in the first half. He's played everywhere for Tip, as has Owen Connolly, Robert Doyle. They play midfield and back and forward for the clubs.
Dropping ball, batted away. Damien Callahan, as I mentioned, has come on for Damon Healy. No doubt he'll play in the full back line. Good work by Robert Downey. Robert Downey laying it off, whereas Damien Callahan, as just mentioned him a moment ago, down towards Alan Connolly, being pursued by Robert Doyle. Connolly is heading out over the sideline. He hits from a very difficult angle. He sends it wide. And Cork are making bad decisions now, Michael.
Well, they are, and that's where you want him shooting from. Like, he should be inside. He's gone out the field trying to create room inside for Patrick Horgan and for Brian Hayes, but it's not working for them. Here's Conor Lahan coming out for Patrick Horgan.
Conor Lahan is coming on for Patrick Horgan. He made a huge contribution in the previous games. Disappointment for Patrick Horgan. 37-year-old scored a great point in the first half, but the ball is really not coming in the quality ball being sent in. Conor Lahan can operate around the half-forward line, which I'm sure is what Pat Ryan has in mind. Look at the reaction from Darren McCarthy. Just a few weeks ago, won an under-20 All-Ireland medal below in Nolan Park. Brendan Cummins was the manager. Now as Damien Callahan comes bursting out, Callahan hits Darren McCarthy, charging. It's a free in for the Premier County.
They charge him, and he stood his ground for 19. We've, obviously with 110 on the board, we're talking about him a lot, but he's been through the mill this summer. From that day in Cork, Marty, we were there getting the line, saying the last day, disappointment. But the faith that man, Liam Cahill, has shown in him has been unbelievable. Put him back in the freeze today after a hard day the last day where he missed a couple.
Darren McCarthy has now scored a goal and 10 points. Cork fans can hardly believe what has happened in this second half. Darren McCarthy hits it beautifully between the posts and over the bar. It's an 8-point gap with about, 11 minutes to go. And listen to the roar. An iconic figure in Tipperary. It is, of course, Noel McGrath, 3 times an All-Star, 3 times an All-Ireland senior medalist in 2010, 16 and 19. He'll be 35 in December. And when he's on, the people of Tipperary seem to be a little bit more relaxed. But right now, they cannot believe their eyes and what has happened in this transformation of the second half. Can Cork come back? They've shown character in the past, but they need to find their mojo again. Tipperary under pressure. Shane Barrett battling between the 45 and 65. And again, Kieran Joyce gives the ball away. The ball from way out the field is dropping in. Patrick Collins comes. Oh, another touch! Another goal! John McGrath, his second goal! This is incredible! He made his debut against Cork in 2016. I remember him scoring 3-2 in a Munster final against Waterford. He has now scored a remarkable 2 goals in this second half.
Marty, that's as good a goal as I've seen in an Ireland final. Look at the way he kept his eye on the ball, the bravery, the timing. That is an outstanding goal. Noel McGrath just been introduced, one of Tip's greatest ever, and John McGrath given an all-time display here in the final, along with this man, Ronan Maher and Darren McCarthy. What leaders they have all over the field.
Darren McCarthy and John McCarthy and John McGrath have been just outstanding, and everything is flowing for Tipperary. Jason Ford with his second point of the game. The Tipperary crowd in the Upper Hogan are on their feet.
This is like Limerick or Kilkenny at their very best, dominating, putting teams away. We haven't seen this, we didn't expect this. This is unbelievable.
Tipperary have now scored 3 goals and 10 points in this second half. They could only manage 13 points in the first half, and Cork have only managed 1 score, 1 point in the 46th minute. 3-10 to a point. Here comes Darragh Fitzgibbon heading towards goal, happy enough, I'm sure, to take his point, and that's over the bar. It's only Cork's second point of the game. Second point in the second half.
Tipper arguing it's wide.
Tipperary are saying it's wide. They're looking for a Hawkeye, and the Hawkeye is being called. Hawkeye is now being officially called by the umpire.
And that means it is wide, I'd imagine, when they've called it in.
12 points between the teams. This is going to be a nail. It's a nail.
And Marty, I said it just after half-time, Tip forwards had only scored 6 points in the first half. But tactically, what they did at the start of the second half, they did away with the sweeper and they pushed forward. I think it caught Cork by surprise. And you'll have to say Liam Cahill and his management team have plotted this unbelievably well. They wanted to be in the game at half-time. I think they didn't expect to be 6 down. They were maybe a little bit unlucky to be. But what a second half they've turned on.
They certainly didn't expect to be 12 points in front.
Not now, no. None of us did.
I haven't seen too many supporters dancing for joy in the Upper Hogan, and that's what's happening now. After John McGrath has scored 2-2 in a very impressive performance. But let's see what Cork can do here. They need goals. Seamus Harnedy going for it. Oh, off the post. Nothing is going right. Conor Lahan trying to dig it out, trying to get it back, but Tipperary are there. Standing firm, strong, physical, and they relieve the pressure. Dropping the sliotar up into the sky and is dropping down on the 40-metre line. Little flick of the hurling. And Tipperary have the ball once again. John McGrath trying to get the ball in. Manages to get it in. Patrick Collins has to come off his goal line. Coming in to challenge him is Andrew Ormond. Good play by the Cork keeper. Sends it down towards Tim O'Mahony. Gets by the initial challenge of Noel McGrath. But nothing, as I've said, is going. Oops. I was about to say nothing is going right for Cork. They have it here. Alan Connolly. They have to go for the goal. Connolly in the 30. Oops. The pass was not the right option. To his credit, he goes to gather it himself, and he can't pick it up. It's picked up by Michael Breen and sent down into the Tipperary half of the field. I've seen Cork all through the league and the championship, and I've never seen them perform so poorly in any half.
No, they haven't, but Hardy could have buried that one, hit the crossbar. Alan Connolly should have tapped that one in, and Tip looked out on their feet, Marty. You'd have to say that. They have to hold on for another 10 minutes. They're going to need fresh legs. Here's Shane Kingston coming. The Cork will be targeting a quick goal or two. That's the only chance they have to get back into this.
Shane Kingston's coming on for Alan Connolly as Cork make changes. And I can tell you that Dara Stakelum is coming on as well. That's for Tipperary. Cork, meanwhile, drop this ball in. Comes back up the post.
3 times in the second half.
3 times. Talk about being unlucky.
And hit the crossbar.
Cork having no luck whatsoever in the second half. Tim O'Mahony, well hooked on the first occasion. Tries to get a ball away. Good work by the Newtown Shandrum man. Rob Downey needs the support, has the support of Shane Kingston, but Tipperary stand firm. Good work by Willie Connors. Sending it down. Batted away. John McGrath looking around. There's opportunities over this side. There's another goal on the way here. It could be. Cork are back there in numbers. He flicks it, but he sends it wide. Oh dear, oh dear. John McGrath was under pressure, but there was one other option just across the way in the large rectangle. 5 minutes to go. 12 points between the teams. 323 for Tipperary, 117 for Cork. Floating this one in. Easy ball for Patrick Collins. Down towards Seamus Harnedy, and Harnedy tries to send this in and sends it over the bar. Good score.
Yeah, nice score there by Seamus Harnedy. And
only their second point in the game in the second half is Seamus Harnedy off the crossbar. So unlucky. Because Cork really needed this to hit the back of the net to have any chance. 3 times they've hit the post. You'd have to say that Cork have been unlucky.
yeah, they have indeed, Marty, but you know, Tipperary have just dominated the second half. John McGrath, you mentioned there, Jason Ford was loose. He just didn't see him. That would have been the icing on the cake. But this is one of the great second half performances that I can remember in an All-Ireland final. Brilliant team effort by Tipperary.
Oisin O'Donoghu's coming on for Tipperary. Free for Premier County as Dara Fitzgibbon was fouling. No doubt about the free.
That's Alan Tynan, like they've managed to bring in now the fresh legs all around the middle. Tynan winning that free, Noel McGrath's in there, Oisin O'Donoghue in there, Dara Stakelin.
Tommy O'Connell's coming on for Tim O'Mahony. Changes being made for Pat Ryan and his back to the drawing board. This will be a huge disappointment on Lee side. For Tipperary, it's a day of complete joy. For Liam Cahill, it's a remarkable transformation by his team. Beaten in the league final, beaten in the Munster Championship round robin. They are on fire in the second half. It is one of the great second half performances that we've ever seen in an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, that's 112. I think that's 13 shots that Darren McCarthy's had. I don't think he's had any wide. For his age, it's truly remarkable. It's one of the greatest performances that you're likely to see from a young player of that age. And you'd have to say there's not one Tipperary player has been anywhere below form. They've all been excellent, and so many Cork players have been disappointed.
Away comes Willie Connors, trying to come out with the slipper. Gets the ball. There's a pull across him, says the referee, and that's going to be a free for Tipperary. I mean, the statistics are a bit intimidating, I have to say, from a Cork point of view. With Tipperary now scoring 3 goals and 11 points in the second half, Cork only managing 2 points.
Yeah, and that man Willie Connors there came back and played wing back today. He's back in the full back line now. He never would have done that before in his life. He's always out in the middle of the field. The versatility of this Tipperary team has been unbelievable. Here's the goalie now going for one, Rhys Shelley.
And it's over the bar. Rhys Shelley from my Corky Boris has scored a point in the championship, his first, and he does it in the All-Ireland final. Remarkable.
And it's one from Robert Doyle has scored one from play. Owen Connolly has got one from play, and the goalie has got one. So Mikey Breen will have to step forward before the end of the game. And that was quick thinking again. This stage of the game, that free was taken off the ground to him by Ronan Maher, and he slots it from 100 yards.
Well, there's one proud Tipperary man, twice an All-Ireland winning manager. Pride of place, so important in the GA. and in any sport. It is where we all belong, and this is going to be taken by Dara Fitzgibbon. Getting it for Shane Barrett. Floating this in. Can there be a touch? Batted away. Just kept in. Nothing going right for Cork. Noel McGrath.
Oh.
Well won. Full marks to Mark Coleman. Shane Kingston tries to take a shot, but two hurleys blocked him out. As we're now heading towards the 70th minute. Damien Cahalane. 4 minutes of added time. Damien Cahalane doing well. Sending down towards Shane Kingston. Trying to cut inside. And again, the blocking by Tipperary is superb. And they win the 50-50 ball. It's champagne hurling. As Jake Morris flicked it back, didn't quite come off. Good work by Willie Connors. And eventually the ball is released into the middle of the field. Plenty of red and white jerseys there. One of them happens to be Sean O'Donoghue. Shamie Harnedy has worked so hard to participate in this All-Ireland final. Kieran Joyce dropping it in. Wonderfully caught by Brian Hayes. Has to go for the shot, taken down. Surely that's a penalty. Has to be, and it is. Good work by Brian Hayes.
Yeah, the first time he got away from Ronan Maher all day in the air, great catch. You can just see the Tipperary players, they're absolutely out on their feet from the effort they've put in. And, you know, hurling is such a funny game. If Harnady's goal had hit the net, Alan Connolly had another chance after that. Cork could have worked their way back into it a little bit, but the game is just petering out here now. This is Conor Lehane now, who I'm not sure would have ever taken a penalty for Cork before.
Conor Lehane facing Rhys Shelley. And Rhys Shelley saves and gets the rebound and clears his line. Absolutely brilliant, Tipperary. Cork are in despair. Nothing, absolutely nothing going right for them in this second half.
Great save down to his right post. You know, maybe should have hit the ground with it, but what a save, great reaction.
Shane Barrett dropping it in again. Tipperary masterful at this stage. Coming out with it, Ronan Maher confirmed as the yellow card recipient there a moment ago. And this is dropping just outside the post and wide. A minute and a half to go. And Liam Cahill has won an All-Ireland minor for Tipperary as manager. An under-21 All-Ireland as manager. Now about to become an All-Ireland senior winning manager and produce this cocktail of youthful flair with senior experience exuberance. Liam Cahill, son-in-law of the legendary Len Gaynor. This will be a joy for Tipperary and heartbreak for Pat Ryan.
And Marty, when you look at where maybe Tipperary, this time last year, their whole county maybe turned their back on them. Their minors won an All-Ireland with 13 men against Kenya. I think that inspired a lot of this senior team to say we have to work hard. And I know during the winter, the training they took on was unbelievable. They did 3 nights a week in the gym for 8 weeks just to get ready to start training. And they drove on from there, and their older players drove it on, the lads with the All-Ireland medals. And you can see it out there today why, with the young lads coming through, as you say.
Darragh McCarthy taking his time. Maturity beyond his years. He sent off twice during the year. But you have to say, he has been awesome in this Tipperary performance along with John McGrath. 20 seconds to go. 6 long years waiting. The clock is ticking. We're reaching the magic number of 74 minutes. Tipperary were supposed to be in transition. They failed to get out of Munster last year. And look at them now. Seconds away from being crowned All-Ireland champions.
And that's their leader. That's their spiritual leader. And that's got the biggest roar today. What a man. His 4th All-Ireland medal.
Tipperary are All-Ireland champions. 2025. Liam Cahill is an All-Ireland winning manager. The heartbreak of the summer of 2024 has been replaced by a remarkable summer of 2025. For the people of Tipperary, the wait is over. 6 years. It is a famine for Tipperary. They won their first All-Ireland in 1887, their last in 2019, and today, before your eyes and ears, Tipperary have won their 29th All-Ireland title by beating Cork in their very first All-Ireland final between the greatest of Munster rivals. Pat Ryan congratulates Liam Cahill. Cork have lost 2 All-Ireland finals in a row. Heartbreak for them. What a performance by Tipperary in the second half. They scored 3 goals and 14 points to Cork's 2 points. Truly fantastic. With a full-time score of Tipperary, 3 goals and 27 points. Cork 1 goal and 18. The stories of Jimmy Doyle, John Doyle, Len Gaynor, the Tipperary manager himself, Nicky English, Lar Corbett, Babs Keating, Brendan Cummins, Porrickmar. But Tipperary have a new chapter today. They have new heroes like Rhys Shelley, Robert Doyle, the McGrath brothers, Noel winning his 4th All-Ireland medal. The Tipperary team have opened a treasure chest that allows Tipperary people to bask in the glory of All-Ireland glory once again. And listen to the music, listen to the singing. It is Tipperary's day.
It's Tipperary's day. I was down with my mother during the week at Tipperary. It was her birthday during the week. I won't say what age. And she said to me, we're given no chance. And what a performance. Everybody went for Cork. There's no point on form. You had to go for them. But what a second half performance by Tipperary. John McGrath, Darren McCarthy, they'll get all the headlines, but Ronan Maher to me was the man who led from this front. And for Cork, you'd have to say, for Pat Ryan, he's had a very tough year personally, and that's really going to add to it. I just don't know what happened to him in the second half. To only score 2 points is unbelievable. They've obviously felt at half-time that enough done. But congratulations to Tipperary. What a win, and Liam Cahill, what a leader. Well done, Tip.
They've sung Tipperary's anthem, Sleeve Them On, many times, but never before with such gusto, with such pride. Outsiders for this All-Ireland final against the league and Munster champions, having experienced 2 defeats in the league final in the round robin. Liam Cahill continued to believe in this squad of players, and certainly Tipperary, tears of joy. And no matter where you are in the world right now, a Tipperary person, I've no doubt you are jumping out of your seat and you cannot control the tears running down your face and cheeks. It is Tipperary's All-Ireland title. They are All-Ireland champions for the 29th time in their history. Let's go from the commentary box on the 7th floor straight down to Joanne.
Where the Tipperary man is not doing anything you said. He's been singing for the past several minutes as Liam Sheedy. So Sam, or Liam, was won by Liam for Tipperary in 2010, by Michael in 2016, by Liam again in 2019, and now it's another Liam, this time Liam Cahill. But Liam Sheedy, I wonder, how can a team beaten by 10 points in the league final, beaten by 15 points in the Munster Championship by this opposition, come down to win and win handsomely today? One of the reasons is standing by. So instead of hearing from you, Liam Sheedy, let's hear from the main man. John McGrath is with Damien.
John, congratulations to you. You've seen an awful lot in hurling. Have you ever seen anything like the last 12 months of this season?
Yeah, it's it's hard to put it into words even now. 12 months, it flew by, but geez, it's a long way we've come in them 12 months. We were long gone this time 12 months ago. It's more like 15 or 16 months. But yeah, it's hard to put words or describe what exactly changed. It's not one single magic thing or anything. The talent and that was always there. It was just about fine-tuning it, and my God, we've gone from strength to strength as the years gone on, and geez, that second half was, oh my God.
Incredible stuff, like the amount of scoring there, and the hooking, the blocking, the tackling. Did all that come really from that winter in Clonakilty, that battle-hardened G?
Yeah, I was lucky enough we were still going with the club, so I didn't see Clonakilty, but by all accounts, savage work was done. Even into January, February, training was so intense. Just really went back to basics. Built a real squad unity, a real belief as the year went on. Everyone was out on their feet there at the end, but lads were still throwing everything in the way just to get over the line there.
A very quick last one for you. We had to wait your time to get back into this team. Resilience, resilience, resilience. Everybody knows about your hurling ability. but that mental strength just to wait to get back in.
Yeah, look, it was a few years there, it wasn't going for me, but you don't just throw in the towel. I love playing this and love being a part of this, so you keep plugging away as long as you can.
John, go get the Lee McCarthy Cup.
While it's a first time away has a goal, Leonard Coragriha, Le Luc Naman, August Gahairhilla RTE, TG Cahar, August GA Plus, August BBC, Marialler and Tervish, a current share of file doing. I also want to thank our wonderful sponsors, Board Gosh, Centra and Air, who are represented here today by Dave, Noel and Oliver, and who are great friends of the GAA. Ladies and gentlemen, the All-Ireland Hurling Final is the proudest day in the year. It is a day when we get to show our native games to the world. And for you watching for the first time, let us tell you that our players are amateur in name, but professional in conduct, commitment and attitude. They are volunteers, not tied to a contract, but to a love and allegiance of their club, their county, their community and their place of birth. Today, they are stars playing in an All-Ireland hurling final. Tomorrow, they will wear the jersey of their club, their parish and their community. Today is the icing, but it's not the cake. You are the cake. Our grassroots, our volunteers, our mentors, our coaches, our teachers, our administrators, our referees. You put these young men here by putting a hurl in their hand and a love of the GAA in their heart. And to all of you today, as President, I say, Guramahag of Galyar. To Cork, I know it's going to be hard for you to explain what happened today. However, you know you will be back. You're Allianz League champions, you're Munster champions, and your day as All-Ireland champions will come. And when it comes, it will be all the sweeter. However, on a year when this stand is 100 years after being named, after Michael Hogan, a man who died playing on this very field, it is fitting that the Liam McCarthy Cup is going to Tipperary. You have put in a display of hurling in the second half of this match that would do justice to Hogan, to Sean Tracy and all of the greats who have worn the blue and yellow and gold of this wonderful county where it all began. And so now, it gives me great pleasure to present this to your captain, Ronan Maher. By day, a hurley maker, but on this day, a history maker from the town Thurles, where it all began. Go Gorgeous live.
Tipperary, All-Ireland champions 2025. A remarkable, brilliant performance. Liam McCarthy is headed to Tipperary for the 29th time in the county's history. An incredible day for the Premier County. A massive achievement for this man, Liam Cahill. From Ballingarry, he's guided Tipperary to minor, under 21, and now senior All-Ireland titles.
Luke Durán come on Luke last game, a Taoiseach, Tá an Ásarum, and currently McCarthy, Glocker son, fair and Tipperary! It's my great honour to accept this trophy on behalf of every single member of our panel, our management team, our backroom team, our families, our clubs, and the people of Tipperary. Firstly, I want to salute Pat Ryan and the Cork team today. Both of us shared something that was bigger than just a match. We were part of the biggest day in our great sport, and that's something truly special. Great teams bring out the best in others. You did that today. Congratulations on a great year. League champions, Munster champions. Your day is close. Thank you for your sportsmanship. I also want to thank Liam Gordon and his match day officials for a job well done today. To the Croke Park staff and officials, thanks very much. The field was in great condition. To Tipperary. To the 40 players in our panel, thank you. Your honesty, your effort, your commitment to each other is what made this possible. This was not just won by the players on the field today, it was won by 40 teammates who never let the standard drop. To one player who's no longer with us, but is so much a part of what we are, Dylan Quirk. We carried your spirit with us every step of the way. You were in the dressing room, you were on the field of play, you were in our hearts, and we hope you did you and your family proud today. A big thank you to our county board, the Tipperary Supporters Club, and our main sponsors, Pfizer, and all our individual sponsors, all of whom have helped and supported us in every way possible. Thank you. To our clubs, schools, colleges and previous management teams, we will always appreciate the guidance, the support, encouragement you always gave us, and which was hugely important to making today possible. To our families, partners, wives, girlfriends and close friends, thank you for always being there for us. The good days and the not so good days. This day belongs to you too. To our backroom team, our masseur, Mick Glossy and Darren Cody, our medical team, Brendan Murphy, Paddy O'Brien and Sarah Cuddy, our kitmen, John Durnan and Shamey Butler, our dietitian, Amy Maguire, our stats team, Paul O'Brien, Damien Young and Finn Brody, our mindset coach, Cathal Sheridan, our liaison officers, John Smith and Michael Burke, our S&C coach, Angelo Walsh, our goalkeeping coach, Shane Hennessy, our management team, selectors, TJ Ryan and Declan Laffin, two of the great coaches that have put so much into this team, Michael Beavens and David Herity. Thank you. Our leader, a man who was full of passion and honesty, a man who held us together when things were tough and lifted us when we needed belief best. The man from Ballingarry, our manager, Liam Cahill. And finally, to our supporters near and far, those that are lucky enough to be here today, those that are back home in Tipperary, our diaspora across the world, today we stand at the summit of a long, hard road, a journey paved with set, sacrifice and spirit. Wherever you are, you're never far from our hearts. To win this is a win for the people, for a place, for all of us. Enjoy the moment. Liam McCarthy is coming home. We'll see you tomorrow night in Thurles. Tipperary!
Ronan Maher, the 2025 All-Ireland winning captain, and Liam Sheedy, didn't he play a captain's role?
Oh, he certainly did. I mean, on the edge of that square, he was just outstanding all through. And again, honour the man, like as I said, the way he trains and the way he approaches things. And, you know, he made such a difference on Brian Hayes. I mean, Brian Hayes has been the go-to player for Cork, and he stymied him, but not just alone did he stymie him, Joanne. He caught ball over his head, which was like a double blow. So, you know, and again, you know, what a wonderful speech. And, you know, it would be, I think it's lovely that he honoured, you know, in 2021 we lost one of our greatest in Dylan Quirk. And I think the way he was honoured in Ronan's speech, you know, his best friend was probably Craig Morgan, who wore number 5 today, which was Dylan's jersey when he played wing back for Tipperary. He's been on all of Liam Cahill's teams all right through, and there's no doubt about it. I think it's lovely for Dan and Hazel and all of the Quirk family that he was honoured on the greatest day of all, because I hope he's up in the corporate box up there in heaven and he can be smiling down looking on those lads today, because they were outstanding. And to Liam Cahill and to Ronan, just an outstanding performance.
And Liam Cahill, of course, donned that jersey throughout as well. The Dylan Quirk Foundation was on him throughout the course of that. There was one of many, many heroes of today, and just one of the John McGraths. Before I get your views, Anthony, before I hear from a very disappointed Donal Logue, let's hear from a very, very happy and I'd imagine vindicated Liam Cahill.
Congratulations. Hard to know what to say to you now. The West has been won.
Well, look, Damien, I'm absolutely elated. So thrilled for that group of players and management and everybody that has been involved in our journey this year. And I want to take an opportunity as well, if you don't mind, to big shout out to my mum and dad at home. My mother probably has the rosary beads swallowed at this stage, and my father probably has the cow's milk 3 times, but with nervousness. But just so thrilled for everybody, supporters, the whole shebang.
Liam, can you just, I know it's very, very soon after the final whistle, can you piece through the journey from the Munster Championship exit last year, all the talk around the county, the doubts, and then suddenly that infusion of youth, that hard work over in Clonakilty, and your mindset as the management just to drive these lads on to the very, very end?
Yeah, Damien, look, the whole collective of everybody, you know, not just me. And obviously, as I said, leading into the All-Ireland, players win matches and managers lose them, but the reality of it is everybody from county board, the people in the supporters club and the various teams behind the setup that supports us to allow us to create a high performance environment have just been superb. And the honesty of that group of players, I never doubt them. I know we were all a little bit sensitive after last year with what happened, and some of the criticism was probably deserved at times, but I knew the quality of these men, and once we got in among them, supported them better and got them back believing again that we'd have a great opportunity of lifting the spirits of the Tipperary people, and they came here in their thousands today. I'm just so happy.
Liam, it's very hard to put a finger on one moment, but was there any turning point for you along these last 10 months? Any moment where you said to yourself, we're onto something here now?
I really thought when Clare came back level with us in Ennis, you know, a knockout championship, Munster hurling, Clare 3 minutes to go, All-Ireland champions, peg you back from being 12 points up. Another team would have gone away, and this group didn't, and we got back out of there still contesting the championship, and I thought we really turned the corner at that stage, Damien.
You've got the fearlessness of youth, but you also have Jason Ford and John McGrath fighting back, you know, to show their quality again, and real leadership by the likes of Jake Morris as well. It seemed like a lovely blend as the year developed.
Yeah, that's it, Damien. So many of them fellas I had at minor and under 20 and under 21 coming through. I'm just so proud of them, like, and then the older brigade, or the more experienced, we won't call them older, their leadership is incredible. You know, John McGrath coming back from a horrific injury 2-3 years ago. Willie Connors the same. You know, Seamus Kendi today. And then like Noel and Jason, they're just superb. Mikey Breen in the corner today, what a player. You know, and they're so positive around the dressing room, Damien, you know.
The last question for you, Liam, before I let you back. Half time, 6 points down, Cork get a goal just before the break. Tip of the goal disallowed. What was the train of thought then to unleash a second half performance like that?
Well, look, we said if we were in 5-6 at half time, we were happy. That's where we were. The goal just before half time was a killer, but just again testament to the character of these men. And our performance coach as well, a big part to play in that. Cathal Sheridan, top class man, just really got these fellas ready to perform.
Well done, Liam.
Thanks a million. Up tip.
Up tip. We've heard that quite a bit, including from Liam Sheedy, who was shouting it nice and loudly. I wonder what Dara McCarthy heard. Dara, congratulations. What is that like?
It's unbelievable. It's some scenes. That's all I have to say. I have not much other words now than that. We've been using the word privilege for the last 12 odd months, I'd say. And this is what this is.
Well, is it to go out there? Because if we take you back, not that we want to remind you of the All-Ireland semi-final, you pick up the second booking, you have to go off and watch from the stands as your teammates drag Tip over the line. How did you go from that to producing a performance, 113 today, just the one wide, Dara?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's all a mind game, really. If you let it get to you, you're going to be curled up in the ball there at home in bed. But listen, Carl Sheridan, our man, played a big part in that. I went in for a few chats to try to sort the head out. But listen, it's kind of a mind game there. You just have to steal the mind there and just forget about it. But
what about your teammates, Dara? You have great men around you, right from the Knowles and all the experience. They must have been something else to you on the last 13, 14 days.
Like I'll say it again, Noel McGrath, favourite hurler of all time. He deserves that credit, but no, they're the best in the world. Like, it's what they done for me there for the last 12 months. But even after the first sending off against Cork, I'd say that the 40 men the panel texted me after, like, meeting up with Jake Morris, texted me the following morning here, we'll go for a coffee or whatever, like just to get back around the lads again. And they're all just so good, and what they done for me there the last day again, they looked after me there. And Oisin, like, one of my good friends looked after me there as well with that goal. So I have no words for him.
And Liam all year, right? I'll find out the boys after this. Liam all year, Liam Cahill looked after you with the 20s and the seniors. Great bit of management.
Yeah, the man management was unreal. We were lads saying we'd be flogged or we might get burnt out. But listen, if you love doing what you're doing, you're not going to get burnt out. Like, I think it's kind of in the head as well. But that was never going to happen anyway with the man management of.
Dara, congratulations. Incredible performance in the second half from Tipperary, from yourself. At half time, it looked as if Cork were after stealing a march with that goal. What was the conversation in the Tip dressing room?
Yeah, the conversation was all positive. We kind of planned for that. We kind of said during the week, listen, if we're 5-6 down half time, we're not going to panic here. Like, we're not going to panic. We know what we're capable of. We've came from worse margins before. Like, we said we won't panic. We'll just, if we played our game the way we know we can play it, we're capable of beating any team. I think that was the message at half time, was stick to the process basically.
And did you talk about changing the structure? I know you went with that extra man in defence. Was the conversation about that at half time?
Yeah, we changed a bit. We kind of had 3.5 forward line there at times in the first half, but we just pushed the man back inside just to allow space there around the middle kind of.
And just on that, Dara, I mean, you spent a lot of time out around the half-forward line. You looked really comfortable out there. Because does that allow you to get on more ball and find a little bit more space and not have somebody on your back all the time? A bit more freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're in the corner there, you might get stuck there, and there's a lad up your behind the whole time, like, and you're kind of a lot depending on quality ball as well, like. But listen, 10 balls might come in and you could lose them all, like. It's a mind game there as well. But yeah, out there, it's unreal. You have the freedom to go wherever you want.
Just before I know you want to get in with one, but before we let him go, because he does have to go off and join his teammates, Liam, would you take Dara through some of the highlights from this young man during the All-Ireland final?
It would be my pleasure, Joanne. Yeah, and again, very, very good to come out and make space. And again, Dara, like, I thought that role really suited you, and you must, John and Jason, there must be a pleasure to play around in terms of in there.
Unbelievable. They're just,
and they're all the time
so smart.
Yeah, look at John again, perfect ball in. I think that the connection with all the forwards, you smelt was it on, and then you thought the best thing was to slip it over the bar.
Exactly.
Was there anyone trying to take this off you?
Yeah, Jason was going to have a go on here. I was like, no, this one's mine, Jason.
Yeah.
No. He said, work away.
Yeah, and you must have been really happy, I guess, to, if he's your all-time hero, to be able to supply him with the ball for that point must have been a very, very special moment.
No better man to pass today. He thanked me there after, but I was nearly thanking him there. There's no need to thank me.
Superb.
Darren McCarthy, we have kept you far too long. Have you
got a good wheelbarrow at home for all the awards you're going to pick up?
I don't know.
It's been amazing to watch, especially out there today. Well done. Enjoy. Go join your teammates, and thank you very much for coming over here.
Well done.
While Dara goes off to join those lads, we'll be back in a little while. First of all, here's your competition.
Here's your chance to win the ultimate trip to the Big Apple, New York City. You and a friend will fly in style in business class with Aer Lingus, and with daily flights to New York from Dublin and Shannon, it's never been easier to check out airlingus.com. You'll stay 4 nights in the Liam Neeson penthouse suite at the 4-star Fitzpatrick Grand Central Hotel, where a warm Irish welcome awaits. It's located in the heart of Manhattan and just steps away from some of New York's iconic attractions. More on fitzpatrickshotels.com. And so you can experience top-class entertainment, dining and shopping. There's $2,000 spending money too. For your chance to win, answer this question. Who won the All-Ireland Senior Hurling Final in 2024? Was it Cork, Clare or Cavan? To enter, call 1517 71 71 74 or text the word GAME followed by your answer and name to 57886. Maximum cost per entry is €2.50. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines would close at midday on Monday, August 11th. Full details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed.
Difficult day for Pat Ryan and the Rebels, but Liam Cahill, Ronan Maher and the Tip lads, they are bringing that cup there back home. And as all of the Tip crowd celebrated, Liam met Liam with Liam. It was just a few moments ago, so Tipperary with a win that so few people saw coming, even heading into today. But Donalogue, Cork scored 2 points in the entirety of that second half. They went from leading by 6 to losing by 15.
Yeah, it was like as if the goal before half-time, you would have thought the Cork would have built on that and driven on it. It was like as if it had the opposite effect on it. Like the third quarter was just, you mentioned the score, 2-7 to a point. Cork only got a point in the final quarter as well. It's hard to imagine out of 15 shots that, and there's no point in talking about the crossbar, maybe the penalty, Alan Connolly's chance. Like to score 2 points from 15 chances, it's a heartbreaking defeat. Congratulations to Tipperary. Cork will just have to take it. They'll have to wear it and get ready to walk back into the fire next year, but it's definitely one that's going to take a bit of time to get over.
What a performance for Tipperary, and from the very off in that third quarter, out of the traps they came. It was as if they decided they were going to take this and they were just going to do it.
The subtle change at half-time maybe that we noticed was that Craig Morgan went loose and Brian O'Mara went marking at centre-back. And the All-Ireland can be won with a 7th defender, has been shown here. They dismantled the 50-50s. Look at that, like they wanted the breaking ball. Willie Connors, what a second half, Willie Connors.
Oh, like Willie Connors is outstanding all through. I think his performance, and you know, he lost his uncle in the lead up to the semi-final, so he had, you know, that was a tough for him coming up here. But I mean, my God, did he honour his uncle with a performance today? I thought he was outstanding, and back into wing back, he really ran. You know, his energy all through was outstanding, and Andrew Orman came into it, and I thought again, right, you know, the Tipperary effort to turn over ball. You know, Jake Morris spoke about in some of his interviews. He said, like, we weren't working, the top 6 weren't working hard enough. I thought they worked extremely hard, and they earned their 327. And I guess when you have a defence that's so on top, but we always said it, you know, this forward line of Tipperary, if they get space and if they get time. But time and time again, Cork coming out with the ball turned over, and it was a joy to watch. And the more they got it, the more Liam Cahill got animated, the more the stand came in behind him, and it just took off, Joanne. And I'm coming in here a long time. I've never ever seen a performance like that, where they've outclassed the #1 team in the country coming into today, 3-14 to 2 points. And you know, they say tactics don't win matches, but to me that was a tactical masterclass by Liam Cahill. He got everything right. He positioned his team well. He got his 2 men inside and created consternation. He got Darren McCarthy out. He scored 113 in total. I thought Tipperary had a masterclass.
The timings of his subs as well, Liam, weren't they? He had planned the timings of his subs. We could see fellas visibly tiring. He brought in the right guys in the right positions. He had them incredibly fit. There was so much made about that. Did he just flog them in the winter and
They didn't show any signs of it there.
Oh, no.
And to play that type of game that Tipperary played today, you have to be super fit for it. The sweeper will be back in fashion now over the next couple of years everywhere. But all credit to him. Like everything is risk. Teams taking risks. You know, Brian Hayes so dangerous on that high ball. But you the whole Tipperary team fighting and working together. Maher was incredible. under that high ball on Hayes.
Well, while one manager celebrates, we also have another manager who, for the second year in a row, has to now go in and face a losing dressing room. Here now is Pat Ryan.
Pat, commiserations. It's a tough one. What are your thoughts after the final whistle, Tad?
I look very disappointed. Look, obviously we're in a good enough position at half time, even though the Tipperary are playing really, really well. The goal just before half time gave us a nice bounce going in, but look, in fairness, the second half Tipperary just blew us away. Momentum that they got, and then created 2 goals and a sending off, and look, we were chasing the game, but look, disappointed from our point of view, our performance the second half.
Pat, look, coming into half time, like you were maybe getting a foothold in that game. It was starting to open a little bit, and did you feel that goal before half time might have maybe given you the platform at that stage?
Yeah. But look, we knew the Tipperary were playing really, really well. You know, they'd put us up to us. They'd obviously crowded our full forward line, like they think. But we were getting plenty of scores on our half forward line. Diarmid and Shane were doing a good bit of damage. But look, from our point of view, it was the energy and effort in the second half wasn't what we would have liked. But credit Tipperary, they were the ones that brought the energy and effort, and they got 2 great goals, and that changed momentum of the game.
You tried to change it, you tried to empty the bench, I suppose, Pat, and you've had a great response this time around, but hit the post a couple of times, ball going different ways too here and there.
Yeah. But look, in fairness, we've no cramps. Look, Tipperary the best team, and credit to them, and they'll enjoy their celebrations.
Okay, thanks for your time, Pat.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, it's so tough for Pat Ryan. What's he going to do now? What's the squad going to do now? How do you recover from that?
Look, it's heartbreaking. It's, you know, Pat's been a real servant to Cork, every level, player, underage, onto senior, was involved even before years. I'd say no, he needs a bit of time just to think, but Pat Ryan is like Cork. Cork will find a way back. It's tough. It feels as if the winter is just going on for 20 years, and we were hoping that hurling winter would finish today. It hasn't, but Cork will find a way back.
Anthony?
Yeah, very, very hard on him. Yeah, I don't know where as much, you know, it was a fantastic tip display, and hats off. You know, it was incredible. And Liam was a bit harsh on himself because 2010, the explosion as well that day, it reminded me of that. And when they explode, they're very hard to stop, but you'd have to say it was somewhat of a Cork collapse as well, married to that brilliance of Tip.
Well, 2 points.
The goals were a killer as well, though. Like, and we flagged it could come from a Tipperary point of view. The goal, losing your full back then, and like the whole game going against you. That was they actually were the killer in the end. Cork, all Cork's play needed to get those goals. Cork didn't get those goals, and they came at a killer time. And the whole,
and maybe the goal you got as well, Dom. Maybe the goal you got was at the wrong time too.
I know, that was the point I was making. That is there some way that in the psychology, Cork felt now that everything was going to flow, and maybe Tip went in with a better mindset. But in that second half, once the momentum swung, Liam was saying it there, it just felt as if there was nothing that Cork could do to get back into the game.
But say what you like, Don Logue, that was a massive underperformance from that Cork team in those last 35 minutes. I mean, that level of performance is not something you'd expect from that Cork team, from what we witnessed all year. So whether it was the pressure of the All-Ireland final or what, they were a shell of themselves in the second half.
I don't think it was the pressure. Like we said, the points, it was 2 out of 15.
Can you remember a performance that was as bad in that over a 35-minute period in the last 2 years?
From a Cork point of view?
Yeah.
No, sure, like Cork have been consistent, you know, over the last couple of years. They've won the league, they've won the Munster Championship.
But no real test since the Munster final.
And I tell you, that's one thing, and and I said, like, that the whole view, we said it beforehand, it was being obscured by Dublin were so bad. Limerick were so bad that they gave the opportunity to Dublin. We all want Dublin to be back, right? Don't want to take anything from them. But it was like as if everybody's view was obscured, and I said it Friday morning that was the lens that we were viewing Cork on. There was a huge difference between what Cork faced a couple of weeks ago and here, and it definitely didn't do Cork any value now looking back on it.
And there are going to be many, many questions asked about this Cork performance and about this Cork team now after what happened today. But what we're going to be concentrating on for the rest of this evening is just how Tipperary did turn things around, what they did in that second half. Liam Sheedy just milking it for absolutely everything he could get. It looked like Ronan Maher didn't mind that one bit though. So It is, there we see, Noel McGrath, who scored the final point of the game, and that was his son Sam alongside him as well. What a day it was for the Tip supporters. Not so good though for the Cork counterparts.
Delighted. We're over the moon, absolutely over the moon. No one gave us any hope, and we came from the bottom, up Tip. And well done, Cork. Great team, great supporters.
Just very disappointed, I suppose, the second half after being 6 points up. But look, they gave us a great year. You know, they're a great team still, like, but just, yeah, very disappointed. 2 years on the trot now to lose an All-Ireland finals.
It means everything. It's my first All-Ireland I've been at, and they won, so that's the good sign.
Tipperary, I think we're probably the better team in the second half, so it's 21 years now, or 20 years. We'll have to go on to see what we can do next year.
What a day to be alive, boy. Tip are back. Tip are back. Can't wait for it again next year. On Tip.
Until next year, though, on the Sunday game at 9:30 tonight, there is a full couch to analyse Championship 2025. Picking the team hurler of the year. We'll be chatting with some of the newest All-Ireland champions from the Winners Hotel as well. Don't forget about next week, live camogie on Saturday, and then the All-Ireland football final from 2:15 on Sunday. Let's have a look. So Tipperary came out with that third quarter blast. It looked like Cork then had this opportunity to finally settle things. So what happened then?
Yeah, well, they had set the tone, John. I would say they'd set the tone. They were winning the battles. But Dara Fitzgibbon, the midfield sort of died in them, but a great attempt for a point. We all thought it was gone over. Bounced down. They hit a lot of woodwork in that second half. With Rhys Shelley, very, very calm, has really made that spot his own. But this ball from Ronan, to me, just showed Ronan what a stick man, like, and went back and did the man marking job today. Again, we saw a bit of misfortune the other end. Jake is definitely going for a point here. Patrick decides not to let it over the bar, you know, and plays it down. John McGrath, normally the first touch there, he'd have it buried. No panic, Joanne. Just picked it, took his time, you know. Here, like, everything seems safe here. Is a point at worst. Patrick gets too much on the touch. It looked like he should flick it to the net then the chance is gone. No, calm down, pick it up and roll it in. And again, you know, we see this time, this is just route one. Maybe a goalie should come and take everything here. I give desperate credit to that man, John McGrath. Oh, what a story it is this year, John. This third angle, look at that. Eyes on one thing, the Schlitter. Look at this. He's not concerned for his safety. It's magnificent. It's just hands and balance and everything that he has.
Didn't Donal at half-time and before the match pick out exactly that ball as being the killer for a goalkeeper?
That's it. That's going to really disappoint Cork from an organisational point of view. If you like, maybe there was a warning flag in the first half with the goal that was disallowed. It was very, very similar. A bit of confusion. Like, I always believe that the defender's job there must hold out the attacker as much as possible and leave the ball off to the keeper. But it's when it's in that no man's land, it's a really hard one. But take nothing away. Like, that's the test. Keep the eye on the ball. Keep the composure. Never mind, like, a lot of goalkeepers will be coming to crash you there. That's the sign of bravery that you'll still do the job. So I don't want to take anything away from John McGrath's flick there. It was outstanding.
When the penalty and the sending off for Owen Downey came, was it already game over, do you think, at that point?
Yeah, I felt it was game over at that stage. I mean, all the momentum had, that third quarter, and that's a quarter where Cork at times previously would have hurt you, but I just thought Tipperary in this third quarter, it's probably the best hurling we've seen him play all year, as good as they've played. And, you know, John McGrath, you know, he had 5-14 scored coming in today, you know, and, you know, he's a great man to engineer it as well.
Is that what he did? Are there questions over whether or not this is a penalty?
Well,
I don't think there's no questions about whether it was a penalty, but
exactly.
Like, even just if you like, he used his experience there. He did hold Owen Downey just off with his hand, holding him off, letting the ball land into his hand. That was a hard ball to catch still though at the angle that he caught it. But post that, there was a question mark over that originally, but again, post that, no question that it was. And when Owen was already on, I tell you, it was a costly yellow. I know people were saying it was for consistent fouling, but that yellow in the first half now, especially in that position, that full-back position, it was a costly first yellow now.
But at this level, Joanne, you shouldn't be that should not be won by a forward. It should be man ball and all should be going. Likewise with Patrick Collins, you know, the goals should not come from those chances. And you know, while Tip took their chances really well, when Cork reflect on that was poor defending. Like, I mean, Owen Downey switched off when Patrick Collins was bringing down the ball, and John McGrath reacted. Every time the ball came down off the Tipperary post, first on, the Tipperary, and I think it shows the mentality of the inside backline in Tipperary. I thought they were outstanding again today. Robert Dial, oh my God, I mean, for a young guy scoring a point again today, Tip seemed to have all the answers in their defence, and that gave them a massive platform for going forward.
And is this something that we've seen develop over this summer? Liam Cahill getting things right, those young players throughout the pitch just melding and blending so well with the more experienced ones.
Yeah, look, the first day we were beside each other, myself and Donald in Ennis, rushed to get to see the match against Limerick in a pub, and surprised they drew with Limerick and full value for it. Then what happened. Young Dara, we had him here.
How brilliant was that interview?
Lovely kid. Oh, a gem, an absolute gem. But they fought on, although they were well beaten, and then they came to Ennis, and when Mark Rogers got that free, I was doing radio, and Liam Ahern and myself, and we kind of both there, this is it, Clare going to kick on. What guts Tip showed from there, and then got the job. And that third place finish, we've often said it's not the worst place to be. You don't have the drama, the Munster final, and what drama it did give us. Yeah. And nicely built up for Galway, and did the business, and a great semi-final.
And Liam Cahill has driven on.
Saved the best for last.
You're on about driving on. Liam Cahill has driven on, like you say, last year down in Thurles. Cork gave Tipperary a good beating. Very little turnout from Tipperary supporters that day. Like, Liam Cahill has showed massive resilience to keep going. Had a tough time in Waterford. He lost an All-Ireland final for Waterford as well. Maybe again, all that kind of narrative that was being thrown out, that was he training the teams too hard and so on. There won't be too many people asking about hard training now this evening.
And likewise, 2 weeks ago, I met Dara's father going out of the stadium, and he wasn't sure, having been sent off, was he going to be eligible for the final. So I'd love to meet him going out with the pitch today, because I mean, what a difference 2 weeks can make, and to see the performance his young lad made today.
What a performance he gave, what a performance all the younger players and the older players gave, and that's one of the main reasons why Tipperary are All-Ireland champions. A big thank you to Liam, to Anthony and to Donal Logue, and to all of our special guests throughout the hurling championship, especially those players like Dara and managers who are so good to join us so soon after the final whistle each week. Some of us have a hotel to get to, and it might be quite busy and a little bit boisterous there as well, so we'll see you at 9:30 tonight, and from 2:15 next Sunday for Kerry versus Donegal in the All-Ireland football final. But for now, goodbye on this historic day when Tip rebelled against all the odds and all their predictions. Goodbye.